following day for full commentary on Ajax Rangers. As this song builds to a climax, Pat, we are thoroughly looking forward to this game as always. Just talk to me a little bit before we get started, Pat, about clash of styles with these two and what we're going to see today.
Well, what is very interesting about, we know what Celtic style is. I mean, utterly at 100 miles an hour right from the start. Really, really lovely football to watch. Technically good as well. Rangers, you know, arguably a little bit more physical, but do not take away from the fact that they actually are a really smart football team, and that was underlined against PSV Eindhoven when they were expected to go out, but with good football and good intelligence, they managed to get through to the Champions League group stage. Kicking off very shortly, as they will be at Goodison Park. Maz Faruqi is going to be watching the Merseyside derby. Maz.
Obvious statement of the day, Ali. Very loud here inside Goodison as well. We are underway. In fact, the home support obviously played a massive part for Everton in them staying up last season, and you just know it's going to be bouncing again today against their huge rivals. And how will Darwin Núñez, back in the Liverpool starting 11 today, handle that noise and handle that pressure? 0-0 in the very early stages.
Thank you, Maz. Plenty of updates from Maz throughout the game here in Glasgow. We are underway. Celtic in the green and white hoops defending the goal away to our left-hand side in front of the Jock Stein stand. They've been absolutely rampant so far this season. 5 games played in the league, all 5 won, 25 goals scored, 21 of those actually away from home. The 2 home fixtures have been 2-0 wins against Aberdeen and Hearts. This a very different test for them, though. And we have an injury right at the start of the game. We've only had a couple of throw-ins, and one of the Celtic players, Pat, is already... Kyogo. Yeah, Kyogo's holding his right leg. No, I think it's his arm. His arm. Maybe his arm that he's actually holding there. Just a little coming together right at the start of the game over there. There didn't seem to be a great deal in it. The referees are making sure it is Kyogo there, because he's out of possession. He's on the left-hand side. It is. Yeah. Yeah, you can tell by that sort of slightly orangey peroxide hair. He's just getting an assessment from a member of the Celtic medical team. It gives me a chance to run you through the two teams. Celtic unchanged from the 9-0 win against Dundee United last Sunday. Joe Hart's the goalkeeper, back 4. The Croatian Josip Juranovic on the right-hand side. Scottish international Greg Taylor's the left back. Cameron Carter-Vickers alongside the Swede Carl Starfelt, the 2 centre-backs. Matt O'Reilly, Callum McGregor, and one of the Japanese internationals, Ryo Hatate. Pat and I saw him score 2 wonderful goals when Celtic beat Rangers 3-0 here in one of the Old Firm derbies last season back in February. Liel Abada and Jota, the 2 wingers. Kyogo still receiving treatment, plays through the middle. If he's not okay to continue, then it will be Georgios Giacomakis, the big Greek, who will come on as the centre forward. Yeah, I've just seen a replay of that there, and it's a knock straight onto the top of his left shoulder. Very unusual injury, certainly nothing vicious about it, and it wasn't deliberate, it was just coming together with 2 players. 2 changes for Rangers from their 4-0 win against Ross County last weekend. Glenn Kamara and Stephen Davis have come into central midfield for them. Tom Lawrence is missing with a knee injury. He started life at Rangers well, so that's a blow. Scott Wright drops to the bench. John McLaughlin's in goal, formerly of Bradford and Burton and Hearts and Sunderland. James Tavernier on the right-hand side in the back 4, Borna Barisic on the left, Connor Goldson alongside the American James Sands, who's on loan from New York City. Kamara and Davis with John Lundstrom in the midfield 3. Malik Tillman has been a real star early on for Rangers, 20-year-old American and international on loan from Bayern Munich this season. Ryan Kent the other side, Antonio Cholak through the middle with Alfredo Morelos on the bench. Here's Tillman on the ball for Rangers, stabs a pass forward with the outside of his right foot, and it's just beyond Tavernier, can't keep it in, and it goes behind for the goal kick to Celtic. 3 minutes played, Celtic go quickly with the goal kick. Joe Hart short to Starfelt, across the face of goal to Carter-Vickers, now to Juranovic in the right back position, drives it powerfully down the right towards Abada. I don't actually think Kyogo's going to be able to carry on. No, you're right. He's gone down on his knees. It's as if it's almost like I don't think it is dislocated the shoulder, just the way he's holding it there. He can't seem to run with it. He's gone down on his knees, and that would be a huge blow for Celtic if they were to lose him now. Having said that, they have got some strikers on the bench, Giacomakis and
Is Haksabanovic, is he on the bench?
Yes, he is. Haksabanovic on the bench.
Looks like more likely it'll be Giacomakis coming on. Kyogo signalled to the bench almost immediately after that injury that he was in distress, and it's not like him to do that, so you know it's serious when he does, and that's what's happening. And here comes Giacomakis.
That's the voice of Roddy Forsyth. BBC Radio 5 Live. You can listen to us on the move via the BBC Sounds app. Standing ovation tinged with sadness for Celtic striker Kyogo. His head is bowed, his right hand is across his chest, clutching his left shoulder. He is dragging himself from the field. He was debating there, Pat, whether there was any chance he could continue. He does not want to leave. He's got to.
Well, he can't move right. You know, his arms holding just straight down, his left arm straight down, not moving at all. It's as if he's kind of trying to hold it in place a little bit. What a blow at the start of this game, not just for him, but for the game itself.
Yeah, for the game itself. And let's also not forget Real Madrid here on Tuesday night. Ange Postecoglou, I imagine, would desperately want Kyogo starting that game. Scored the hat-trick against Dundee United last week. 6 goals in 5 games at the start of the season. Giacomakis, though, is on his second season at the club. Grew in stature throughout last season and has scored 3 goals in his last 3 games. But it's an early blow for Celtic in this one. It's 0-0 between Everton and Liverpool at Goodison Park. 0-0 between Celtic and Rangers here. Fairly sort of nondescript, cloudy skies above us at Celtic Park, and still sort of catching the back of the throat is the acrid smoke of the flares that were let off ahead of the game. Jota on the ball for the first time, the Portuguese for Celtic. Plays it forward in the inside left channel. Ball comes back into midfield. Worked into the feet of captain Callum McGregor. One touch from him, nice pass out to the left to Jota. He's looking to slide a pass in behind Rangers. Clearance is closed down, the ball goes out for a throw into Rangers in the right back position.
Slight surprise there that Jota didn't put that in there. He's had plenty of time and space to put it in the middle. Giacomakis has just come on the field. I mean, he's a big, strong centre forward, probably much better in the air than the player he's replacing, Kyogo. So I'm slightly surprised didn't put it in there.
I've forgotten quite how hard it is to see the Celtic numbers on the back of this Celtic shirt. So bear with me at the start of this game. I know that's Cameron Carter-Vickers, had an excellent season for Celtic last season, now a permanent signing from Tottenham. Under a little bit of pressure in midfield, here is Juranovic, who's the right back, has popped up in central midfield there. Starfelt brings the ball out, little Greg Taylor on his left-hand side. Pass goes wide to Jota from Hatate, and the ball goes out for a Celtic throw. Attacking position on the left, it's 0-0.
Well, consider yourself lucky about the numbers. For decades and decades and decades, they never wore numbers on the back of their shirt. They only wore them on the shorts.
7 minutes played at Celtic Park. I hope the atmosphere is coming through loud and clear. Plenty of updates from Goodison Park as well. First Premier League game of the day is underway. Everton 0, Liverpool 0. Darwin Núñez starting for Liverpool, if you hadn't heard. Full commentary on Chelsea West Ham at 3 o'clock this afternoon. Ian Dennis and Tony Pulis, your team for that one. And then John Murray and Michael Brown with full commentary of Aston Villa Manchester City, which kicks off at 5:30. Greg Taylor's lofted one down the left-hand side. Jota onto it, heads it forward to himself. Good challenge on him. Eventually the ball is knocked behind. Celtic get the first corner of the first half.
And it looked a long way offside when they played it with Hill. Celtic have taken it very quickly.
Yeah, that was Jota to Taylor. Celtic trying to work it on the left. They've given it away. Slight miscommunication between the 3 of them, including Callum McGregor. Ball out for a Celtic throw. They want to go quickly again. Cross in on the volley. Might drop to Abildgard. It's in! John McLaughlin got a hand to it, but he couldn't stop it. And Abildgard with his left foot fires Celtic in front. They're on the front foot, as they always are at the start of these games. Rangers caught napping. Celtic lead Rangers by a goal to 0.
Well, that's incredible. I mean, Celtic actually had been second best up until now. They hadn't been able to play their normal game, closing down very, very quickly. They've done it for 30 seconds, and it's led to a goal already. Abildgard, one touch, keeper's got a hand to it, couldn't keep it from going out.
I don't know if you noticed, but a contributor to that goal was Ryan Kent. He was down there, a throw-in was conceded. He argued with the referee and did not pick up the ball as it was thrown across him. He could have intercepted that and cut out the danger.
It's all about the speed that Celtic play with.
Yeah.
They've not been able to start that way. This was their first period of really close attention to Rangers' defence, and it's paid off.
relentless, non-stop attacking for a spell of sort of 45 seconds to a minute there. Volleyed cross into the path of Abildgard. John McLaughlin very nearly popped that wide of his left-hand post, got a good hand on it, but just couldn't keep it out. Celtic leading Rangers by a goal to nil. About to kick off again. What's happening at Goodison Park? Maz Faruqi.
Still goalless here. We're just having a minute's applause here to mark Olivia Pratt-Corbell, the 9-year-old from this city, murdered in her own home. Fans of both clubs, regardless of allegiance, marking the memory of her short life here as well. And in the early stages, it really has been quite nervy here on the pitch. Still goalless though. Everton 0, Liverpool 0.
Thank you, Maz. Lively here, as you'd expect. The home team in front. If Celtic win the game, they go 5 points clear at the top of the Scottish Premiership. John Lundstrom goes launching into a challenge on the halfway line. Abildgard was already down and Celtic have been given the free kick. Celtic 1, Rangers 0. Pat Nevin.
Do you know, the oddest thing happened at the start of this game, because of Kyogo got that injury, it wasn't as extreme as it usually is the first 3 or 4 minutes. Right, ignore that now. We're back to normal. It's mayhem here. The pace of the game is really up on both sides. But well done, Celtic, because, you know, to lose an important player in a game looked really bitty, they've come back and started playing exactly the way they want to play, and they've got the reward.
5th goal of the season for the Israeli Liel Abildgard. He was another hat-trick hero in the win against Dundee United last week. This only his 2nd Premiership start of the season. Good choice by the manager Giovanni van Bronckhorst. He took the goal extremely well. Celtic attacking again down the right. Matt O'Reilly has reached the ball by the byline, turns infield. Pass intercepted by Borna Barisic, Rangers left back. Floated pass forward to Cholak. McGregor wins it on the halfway line ahead of Glenn Kamara. Referee thought there might have been a head knock to Cholak there, blowed his whistle to stop the game. Celtic will get the ball back.
He wanted to let the play go on a little bit there, but I think that's a very obvious one. Carter Vickers then came through the back of Cholak there. He's not actually going to give a free kick because there's a head knock. He says there's no free kick. He's giving Celtic the ball back. I think Rangers fans, although you can't hear them above the noise, they'll be quite annoyed. There's been a couple that have looked marginally offside, that they've not got those calls early in the game, and that time I think most Rangers fans would think that would have been a free kick.
Jota drops deep for Celtic, playing from left to right in this first half. Diagonal ball, looking for the run of the goal scorer. Abildgard can't quite get there. Celtic fans love the ambition, love the idea, applaud that. It goes behind for a goal kick.
Well, we talked at the start of the game about, you know, Maeda or possibly Abildgard starting, you know, and we chatted and I said I expected Maeda, because, you know, I mean, work rate's fantastic, can tackle as well. You know, he's scored a decent amount of goals, but he's a big part of this team. And you look at Abildgard, and he's a winger, and he's quite light winner. Yeah. But the bravery of Ange Postecoglou to just go with the man who, you know, was starting against Dundee United in the 9-0.
Next time we hear from Roddy, he might be able to remind me of this. I think in the Celtic 3-0 win against Rangers in February, I seem to remember Abildgard scoring a very similar goal in that game. Giakoumakis is strong for Celtic, but unfairly so. Barges into James Sands, knocks him to the floor. Giakoumakis is saying, look, shoulder on shoulder. Sands was off balance, he was knocked down. Rangers get the free kick. Roddy, am I right about that? Did Abildgard score? I seem to remember Abildgard scoring a...
You're right, and of course that was a game in which Kyogo ran rampant from the beginning. The thing that struck me as a contrast this time was that Celtic didn't get into Rangers' half until after Kyogo was off. And that's not like them. They normally start at racing speed.
Miscue from Callum McGregor in the left-back position, gets a second bite at the cherry. Stephen Davis tries to close him down. Celtic under a bit of pressure inside their own half, but they have the lead in the game. If you have just tuned in, BBC Radio 5 Live, also available on the BBC Sounds app. This is full commentary of Celtic Rangers in the Scottish Premiership. Celtic with the early goal lead their rivals by a goal to nil. That was risky from Ravic. He's lost it to Lundstrom. Ryan Kent picks it up for Rangers in the blue shirts, playing from right to left in this first half. Back to Lundstrom, Rangers number 4, across to Stephen Davis in a central position, 35 yards from goal. Celtic fans booing, jeering and whistling the Rangers possession. Ryan Kent is on the dribble, moves into a whole host of Celtic defenders, tries to find a way through, ball gets away from him and Joe Hart scoops it up. Yeah, eventually around it, some players out, Ryan Kent slightly surprised that he didn't have a go at Juranovic when he had him 1-on-1 just before that, turned away from him. Lovely football from Celtic. Hatate and Jota play the 1-2, and then Jota looking for Giakoumakis. The pass is intercepted, but here comes Celtic again. Ball looking for Giakoumakis again on the edge of the penalty. Celtic win it high up again. Hatate trying to make space for the shot on the edge of the box. Callum McGregor comes up and picks up the loose ball. Plays it to Abildgard. Abildgard with a little trick support on the outside from Juranovic. Abildgard goes down. The entire stadium goes up, claiming for a penalty, as did Abildgard. Rangers still haven't got it clear. Giakoumakis wins it back 25 yards out and hits a shot over the crossbar. Celtic 1, Rangers 0. Latest from Goodison Park, Mazfarouki.
Goalless here still, Ali, but first flashpoint of the match from Luis Diaz, who was being man-marked by Patterson. He managed to hold off the Everton defender, but as he got the ball away, he then sort of threw his arm out at the Everton defender. It didn't connect properly, but the boos rang out here. No bookings yet, but the atmosphere's building very nicely. Everton 0, Liverpool 0.
Waiting for a Rangers goal kick here as a Rangers player receives treatment. Almost 15 minutes gone. Celtic lead 1-0. Here's Pat Nevin.
Yeah, there was an argument there for a penalty kick. You know, it happened very, very quickly. Abildgard got the ball. It was an unusual angle the tackle happened from, and I thought there may have been something in it. But looking at the reaction from Abildgard afterwards, he wasn't claiming. So that's often a good sign that it maybe was a decent tackle, you know, when he gets in the box. James Abildgard there, he didn't see Juranovic, you know, getting outside of that being the better ball to play, but he was so intent in getting into the box there that I think he probably made the wrong decision.
Ange Postecoglou, Celtic boss. His Celtic team going into this one unbeaten in 37 league matches since defeat at Livingston back in September last year, when he was still kind of getting his feet under the table, hands in pockets.
Do you know what, just before you say that,
yeah.
I've just watched that again.
Yeah.
Ryan Kent comes in the back and doesn't mean to tackle, but the trailing leg, when he's just lifting it to cross the ball on Abildgard, it catches Kent, who's behind him. There's a lot of people would have given a penalty in that situation, so I think Rangers got a little bit lucky there.
It's one again, isn't it, Pat, in the Premier League? Video assistant referee could easily
would have looked at that. Yeah. Absolutely, 100% would have looked at that. But the good thing about Abildgard, he didn't make a big deal of it. He knows it wasn't a tackle, it was his trailing foot that caught the player behind him.
John Lundstrom seems to be okay. He's got to come off because he's received treatment, but that's just the laws of the game. He'll be back straight on in the heart of the Rangers midfield. Celtic 1, Rangers 0. Giovanni Van Bronckhorst, the Rangers boss, had sat down. He's back on his feet. I was just looking at his record in the Glasgow derby as a player. He was a treble winner with Rangers under Dick Advocaat back in 1999, then won the double again the following season. 10 derbies he played in, won 5 of them, 2 of those at Celtic Park, but the 2 defeats at Celtic Park were big ones, 5-1 and 6-2, so he's experienced all of it.
Yes, well, played against him at that time. And my time McMillan won't come up.
Oh, Celtic giving the ball away from a free kick.
Yeah, but he was only 2 yards away from the ball. You can't really do that. You need to get back to 10 yards. Sometimes referees are tempted to, you know, get their cards out for that. However, you've got to be careful in these games. If you get your cards out too early, you'd end up 5-a-side here. Yeah,
that was Tillman, who was too close to the free kick, blocked it, and the referee took the decision there just to let Celtic have the free kick again and hasn't given the yellow card to the young American. Celtic 1, Rangers 0. Barisic with a high ball downfield. Starfelt up to win the header. Abildgard, first time pass into O'Reilly. Lundstrom tries to block him, can't do so. O'Reilly's left-footed shot deflected, spins behind for a Celtic corner.
You know, Celtic, the way that they break and the tempo they're at is absolutely incredible. We know they were going to do that. We started the game, they've already taken the corner. Yeah,
Taylor and Hatate working the short corner this time. Hatate goes for the floated cross towards the far post. Barisic up to win that first header. McGregor cushions a little pass to Abildgard. Abildgard on the dribble. Tavernier chases him, puts a hand on his shoulder. Abildgard gets the cross into the box, and Celtic again harrying and hassling whenever Rangers are in possession. James Sands has it taken off him. It goes out for a throw-in, and Celtic have taken that quickly as well. Abildgard looking for the 1-2 with Taylor. Comes out to O'Reilly, cross into the box. Giakoumakis with the header, heads it wide, didn't get the contact, could have been 2-0.
Absolutely brilliant move on the right-hand side there. Little nutmeg when they're playing the through ball, but on the right-hand side there, they've torn Rangers apart. Giakoumakis has got to get his head on that. He's up above the defence, maybe a tiny bit behind him, but he would expect to get that. He would expect to get it on target, and in it was only 6 yards. It would have probably been a goal. Rangers are struggling at the moment. They're hardly getting out their own half.
Makes me wonder as well, Pat, what Real Madrid are going to make of it on Tuesday night here.
Well, and whether Celtic, I mean, I'm asking a question, it's a rhetorical one, because I know they're going to do that. Whether Celtic will try the same thing against Real Madrid, play at this pace. I suspect they will. I think Ange Postecoglou's Ange ball, as they call it, there's no other way to work if you're Celtic. It's a brave call to do it against Real Madrid, though.
It is a mouth-watering game. 5 Live will be here, full commentary on Tuesday night. Celtic against Real Madrid. And at the moment, Celtic leading Rangers by a 1-0 and looking to move 5 points clear at the top of the table in the early stages of the season. Tavernier's low ball into the edge of the Celtic penalty area. Goes past a couple of Rangers teammates. Tavernier is onto the clearance. Nice turn from Tillman, edge of the box. Celtic defenders fall off him. Tillman shoots with his left foot. Juranovic clears up the right to Abildgard. Lovely turn from Abildgard. Barisic throws him to the floor, grabs him round the waist, slug him to the floor, and gets a yellow card for his troubles.
A monumentally stupid yellow card. If you're playing left back against Abildgard with his tricks, and you give a free kick away by dragging somebody back, but 25, 30 yards from the opposition goal, when there's a whole bunch of players behind you, that is a really, really silly yellow card. Abildgard thinking, party time, I've scored and my marker's on a yellow.
Now then, Celtic have given the ball away in midfield. That was O'Reilly, had to foul Kamara to stop the Rangers attack. They've taken a free kick quickly. The ball's played to Lundstrom, edge of the Celtic box, low pass again. It's behind on-rushing Rangers players. Cholak throws his arms out in frustration. He's barely had a touch in the game. O'Reilly this time, dragged back by Barisic, who's on the yellow card. He is going to have to be very careful. Free kick Celtic.
There are some players that just seem to get in the habit of doing that. I've watched a few times down south recently as well, just dragging players back. I mean, the referee's not got an option, has he? He has to do it now. The angle we were at, it wasn't so clear, if he dragged them back, so clean out of it, just a barge from the back.
I think the first one on Abildgard was sort of off
clear.
and away, wasn't he, Pat, as well? And sort of Celtic were on the counter. And
also was a rugby tackle.
It was
more than a drag back.
20 minutes gone, first half. Celtic 1, Rangers 0. Plenty to talk about so far. Kyogo off injured. Seemed to be a shoulder problem early on. And Lille Abada with the early goal for Celtic. Joe Hart, 35 years old. Premier League winner with Manchester City in England. Scottish Premiership winner last season with Celtic. Clears the ball downfield. Stephen Davis volleys it forward for Rangers. Cholak can't get to it. Carter Vickers heads it away. Kamara lets the ball run across his body. Can't keep control of it. Here's young Matt O'Reilly. Jota in space on the left-hand side. Celtic fans getting to their feet as Jota makes ground down the left. Cross looking for Giacomakis. Blocked at the near post. And Rangers survive and play the ball out to Ryan Kent on the left.
It's a question we've asked ever since Ange Postecoglou came into. Can this team keep this pressure up and this pace up for the entire game? Well, if they do, Rangers are in trouble.
Ryan Kent gets past a couple of challenges, keeps going, slides a pass to his left with his right foot. Kamara's there in support, Kent just behind him. Kamara wide on the left-hand side. Still Everton 0, Liverpool 0 at Goodison Park. Here's Barisic. Barisic to Lundstrom. It's just slowed down for Rangers for a second, but they're keeping it here. Barisic on the move down the left. Kamara's going to use him here. First time cross from Barisic, just beyond Cholak. Glancing header across the face of goal. Actually goes out for a throw-in deep in the Celtic left-back position.
Yeah, the ball's played not dissimilar to the chance Giacomakis had just a few moments earlier for Celtic. Maybe a little bit high for him, and he's got his head up there. If he gets good contact, he scores. He's only about 4 yards out.
Let's check in at Goodison Park again. Maz Faruqi.
Still goalless, but good chances for both sides. Mopé and Gordon for Everton, and a header wide from Nunes. The cross came in at a pretty tight angle, almost from the byline from Alexander-Arnold on the right. Nunes jumped highest at the left-hand post, but headed wide. Everton 0, Liverpool 0.
Chelsea-West Ham commentary at 3 o'clock on 5 Live this afternoon. At 5:30, Aston Villa against Manchester City. Over on Sports Extra this afternoon, it's the 200 finals at Lords. Coverage starts from 10 to 3. Women's final is the Oval Invincibles against Southern Brave. Men's final at 6:30. Trent Rockets against Manchester Original. Celtic 1, Rangers 0. Here's Abada, curling ball, looking for fellow winger Jota. Takes that brilliantly. Full stretch on his left foot, falls down in the penalty area, rather theatrically. Not going to get that decision.
I don't think it was one for a penalty. He just lost his balance there. His first touch was brilliant. He was running such a pace he couldn't hold it. That Celtic when the attack looked very good, but one goal, it doesn't matter. Rangers are clever enough. They have made the odd half chance themselves.
Rangers have only lost on one of their last 5 visits to Celtic Park in the league. Started to build a good record under Steven Gerrard in the latter part of his tenure. Here's Matt O'Reilly. That's a wonderfully measured ball with his left foot wide to Abildgard. Barisic is on the yellow card, don't forget. So Abildgar's going to have a little run at him here. Teasing onto the left foot, stands the ball up to the far post. Jota jumps for it, drops on the edge of the box. Oh, Jota's on the floor, has a swing with his right foot. O'Reilly scuffed shot very nearly. Just rolled to him as he was lying down on the floor there. Then O'Reilly is in late on Stephen Davis. That'll be a free kick to Rangers, and Davis is bawling that O'Reilly should go in the book.
Yeah, I mean, the referee's trying to let the game flow. There's a lot of tackles flying in, and you know, in the Premier League in England, there's a little bit more being allowed this season, and the referee has managed to let that happen for most of the game so far. But I mean, at the moment, just looking at Celtic going forward, very, very impressed with a number of players, but I'd say O'Reilly in particular. He has grown and grown as a player, and I think it's a lot got to do with his fitness. He's a different shape now. He looks much, much stronger, and he is flying forward from that midfield area time and again.
If you've not heard that name before, he's a tall figure as well, actually 21 years old, and Celtic got him from MK Dons in January of this year, growing in stature with every single game. Can play international football for Denmark as well, because I think of relatives on his mother's side of his family. So keep an eye on him. Stephen Davis, 37 years old, in this Rangers midfield, plays the ball back to James Sands. Barisic side foots one out to Kent. Kent comes jogging forward, dances past Abildgard, flicks a little pass onto the chest of Lundstrom, rolls it to his right to Davis. Davis floats it out wide to Tavernier. Greg Taylor tries to close that down quickly. Tavernier holds him off, plays it back to Davis, across to Lundstrom, 30 yards from the Celtic goal in a central position, with Celtic leading the derby through the early Abildgard goal. Kamara trying to get past Juranovic on the left-hand side. Kamara with the socks slightly rolled down, plays it back to Lundstrom, across here to Ryan Kent. Hatate right in his face. Kent has to go back to the left. Got a Rangers possession here, crossing from Barisic to the far post, dealt with by Celtic. Davis chases the loose ball with Hatate. Hatate gets there first. Davis is too strong for him, holds him off, and plays the pass to Tillman. So Celtic having to deal with a little bit of Rangers pressure at the moment. Here's Barisic again, thought about going wide right, delayed it, then plays that pass to Kent. Kent comes back onto his right foot, cross to Barisic, now Lundstrom. Lundstrom to Davis. Celtic have everyone bar Giacomakis in a defensive shape behind the ball. Ryan Kent on the dribble, in from the left-hand side, up to the corner of the area, rolls it across to Stephen Davis. Thought about the shot, decided against it, wide to Tavernier. Tavernier just slowly brings the ball in towards the corner of the area, looks for the 1-2 with Tillman. The move dies. Abildgard on the ball, flicks it forward, can't find Giacomakis. Rangers can start again.
Best period of play for Rangers. Very noticeable, the style of Rangers in comparison with Celtic. They held the ball for a long time there, but it wasn't sharp passing. You know, passing in front of Celtic defenders who got back, the midfielders got back, so it looks nice, but the pace of the passing isn't close to Celtic. When Celtic attack, it's much zippier and harder to cover.
Celtic 1, Rangers 0. Former Scotland international Pat Nevin with us here. As I said at the start of the game, Pat will be in the Netherlands on Wednesday for full commentary of Rangers' first game in the group stages of the Champions League, away to Ajax. 5:45 kickoff. Rangers have lost the ball inside their own half. Volleyed pass from Hatate wide to Abildgard. Rangers close it down. Celtic come back to the halfway line, and Juranovic plays back to Carter Vickers. That's nicely worked. Hatate, meaty first time pass to Juranovic. Early cross. Giacomakis on the volley. Ball was behind him, and it's gone behind from the volley for the goal kick to Rangers.
Yep, I mean, a beautiful play there in the right-hand side again. Hatate played the ball through to Juranovic. Slightly surprised that he didn't go a little bit further. I mean, he's about 40 yards short of, you know, getting to the byline there. But there was no one in front of him. Could have taken it another 20 yards and made it a much more difficult cross. But you Celtic, as I say, they do things quickly. They get the ball in there quickly when they get a chance.
Been very noticeable again in the first 26, 27 minutes of action here. Rangers still well in the game, just the one goal behind, dozed a little from a throw-in. Celtic took advantage. Here come Rangers. Kent to Kamara. Tillman in space in the inside right now. Running at the Celtic back four. Gets the shout from Tavernier. He pops up on the right-hand side. Tavernier marauding into that Celtic penalty area. Lays it back to Lundstrom. Hits it hard with his left foot. Gets underneath it. And you can tell by the cheers that's gone flying over Joe Hart's crossbar.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite a long way over. He wasn't under any pressure, so he should at least get that on target there. But Good attack, but Celtic are away again, and again it's at pace.
Wow, sweeping forward at speed. That went Abildgard, Juranovic, Giacomakis. Here they are. They've stopped it for a second. Juranovic to O'Reilly. Thought about the shot across to Hurtado. He also thinks about it. Turns instead. Plays it back to Greg Taylor. Ball all into the box just beyond O'Reilly and behind for another Rangers goal.
And it's the danger of O'Reilly. Look, Celtic is almost line up looking like it's a 4-3-3. However, O'Reilly's almost a 10. So he's getting in that position and he's breaking off that back midfield line of Rangers, and he's finding himself in lots and lots of space. Rangers so far haven't got an answer to that. It's up to Lundstrom to follow him, but he's not followed him well enough so far.
Rangers playing out from the back. Abildgard slides in to try and win it for Celtic. Cholak's got a job to do to hold on to it and couldn't do that. And Jota, that is old snake hips from Jota. The ball stayed still on the floor and he just sort of danced around it left to right. I mean, he didn't do very much, but
he'll not please his marker.
Ball down the right-hand line to O'Reilly, who's been a real influence in this game. Juranovic comes back into his own half. Don't know how well you remember your Faulty Towers, the Irish builder called O'Reilly, and the confusion over his surname. Whenever I hear that surname, it always reminds me of that. Here's Joe Hart, all in yellow for Celtic. Hasn't had to make a save as yet. He's 5 yards outside his penalty area. Crisp pass to Starfelt, the Swedish centre-back. Starfelt straight back to him. We're approaching the half-hour mark, still goalless at Goodison Park, and still Celtic leading Rangers by 1-0. Carter Vickers comes shuffling forward 5 yards, turns back, doesn't see anything on, and it's at Joe Hart's feet again.
What Rangers really need to do is to get Ryan Kent and also Tillman into the game as much as possible. They've very rarely got the ball, you know, in one-on-one situations. Celtic have managed to get their wide players in one-on-one situations, and they're incredibly dangerous. The Rangers have got that ability in the wide areas, but they've just not got that out there quick enough to them, because if they do, they've got Cholak in the middle, and as we've seen since he joined Scottish football, he can score if given opportunities.
Yeah, 7 goals in his last 7 games, and he's hit the ground running, and they've needed that as well due to the fitness issues and other issues surrounding Alfredo Morelos, who is named amongst the Rangers substitutes this afternoon.
he got the ultimate embarrassment there for the Celtic fans who went out to warm up, and they didn't even boo him.
Oh, volley from Cholak. Half a chance, it's wide of goal. Hart was off his line. Starfelt's header was aimed at Greg Taylor. He miscued it, and Cholak, 30 yards out, just took a chance on the volley. And had he got it on target, I don't think Hart would have got back.
No, he wouldn't have done. He had to do it. He had to take it first time. It was unexpected. You know, it was a really poor header out, right into that awful area in the midfield there we can get cut. So Celtic got lucky there.
15 minutes remaining in the first half. Rangers coming more into the game. Stephen Davis goes back to his goalkeeper, John McLaughlin, though. Next break in play will take you back to Goodison Park and find out what's been happening in the last 10 minutes or so there. Offside against Rangers. Here's Maz Faruqi.
Tom Davies has just hit the post for Everton, the left-hand post. It was on the rebound after a really good chance from Neil Maupay.
Chance for Jota, and he's scored for Celtic. He's got the second. Quicksilver stuff again. They've worked it from inside their own half. Jota made a wonderful diagonal run in behind the Rangers defence. He's flicked it past John McLaughlin, and Celtic lead Rangers by 2-0.
That's exactly what I was explaining there about the pace of Celtic's attacks. You know, it's not lumping the ball up, but it's playing from the back, but it's not meaningless passes. Everyone's a forward pass. Everyone wants to get into the area, but they broke down that right-hand side, and a phenomenal through pass. I didn't think Jota was going to get to it, but he gets to it. He was at an acute angle, but he still got there. Fabulous piece of play.
Did you notice where Sands was when that move began? Because Sands had been pushing up and up into the Celtic midfield high and was stranded completely when that came across.
Celtic caught Rangers out, they caught me out as well halfway through Maz Faruqi's report at Goodison Park. They took the free kick. Pat's been warning us all half, and they have the second goal. Both wingers on the score sheet. Let's get back to Maz.
Apologies, Ali. Yeah, Davies hitting the post, the closest that either side have come to a goal in this first half. It was a chance off a rebound from Neil Maupay, who has started very well in his Everton debut, but still Everton 0, Liverpool 0.
Thanks, Maz. Celtic 2, Rangers 0. And I think you described the atmosphere as buoyant.
Yeah.
Moment inside Celtic Park.
The two wide players, we've seen before, the Rangers haven't got their wide players on the ball. Celtic have. They've got 2 goals off them. But the through ball was brilliant. Now I'm trying really hard to see who played it. I think it might have been O'Reilly who played it there. It was very tight for offside, but
yeah,
you know, you're not get VAR here, so you have to put up with it.
When I'm watching Rangers, I must say I find Tavernier to be the general barometer of their play.
Yeah.
The more he has it, the more dominant Rangers are and the more likely they are to score. He's only had it in decent position 2 or 3 times this game.
Malik Tillman gets booked for Rangers. Hatate was running past him. Tillman's tripped him. Not going Rangers' way at the moment. Celtic leading Rangers by 2-0. If they win the game, they go 5 points clear at the top of the table, and they are in ominously good form at the moment, Celtic.
Phenomenal. They do start every game quickly, but once again, they've started on fire. But we've talked about a lot of things involved in that goal, about Celtic's pace, about taking the free quickly. Roddy spotted really early on that Rangers players are turning off.
Yeah.
You know, turning around the referee. You can't do that. You need to be ready for it. But what about the finish for Jota? You know, at an angle, the dink over the goalkeeper, a good goalkeeper. It was a thing of beauty.
Celtic looking for another free kick here. Carter Vickers goes down. They get the decision. It was from the offside. It was from Lundstrom's offside, and Celtic just went bang, bang, didn't they? And then the pass came in, and as you say, Pat, the finish was exceptional.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's a free kick in the middle. What's the kind of middle area of the park there? But Celtic want to take everything quick. Every throw-in's quick. Every free kick's quick. You know, you'll catch players out if they're not up for it and up to that speed. And tough for Rangers, because a lot of the games they'll play against a lot of teams mostly who won't do that. Celtic play everything. I was going to say quick. That's underestimated. There's lightning.
Ball's back with Joe Hart. So we've got just over 10 minutes remaining in the first half on 5 Live. And BBC Sounds, if you're on the move this weekend, BBC Sounds app is the one for you. 5 Live and 5 Live Sports Extra available on that for all our sports coverage across both networks. Sports Report, as ever, 5 o'clock this evening. Steve Crossman in the hot seat, and that will be available for you to listen to as the Football Daily podcast tomorrow morning. If you can't make that this evening, full commentary of Villa against Manchester City in the Premier League at 5:30 on 5 Live later on. Celtic 2, Rangers 0. The stands for a minute or two were just that sort of slightly dizzying blur because all the Celtic fans were up and twirling the scarves and the flags, and the green and the white was flashing in front of your eyes. That's the way it must have seemed for the Rangers players so far in the first half as well.
Yeah, a complete and utter blur. And the odd thing about you don't think Celtic are going to slow down, are they? You know, they're not a team that will say, right, okay, we're 2-0, we'll take this easy. They're a team that want to go and get the third if they possibly can before half-time.
Lundstrom to Kent. Kent clever to get away from Giacomakis, stabs it forward to Kamara, back to Kent. Rangers need to try and get back into this before half-time. Miscued clearance from Starfelt, doesn't matter, off the shin pad it goes, and out for a throw-in on the left to Rangers.
It's been such a fast 35 minutes, hasn't it? Lots happened in that 35 minutes. There hasn't been any time to really take a breath, but Rangers at the moment, if they can get that goal back that you mentioned before half-time, I mean, it's all in the melting pot again. And Rangers have shown that they've got great game intelligence, and certainly Van Bronckhorst has made changes and made them well when he's had to. What price? Morelos arriving at some point.
Barisic's cross in, that's a good one. Dealt with well by Starfelt, couldn't head it forward, only backwards though. Behind it goes for a corner. Celtic 2, Rangers 0. Alfredo Morelos on the bench for Rangers. Tavernier will take the corner. It'll come in from the right-hand side. The small pocket of Rangers fans look slightly dumbstruck at the moment away to our right. Watching this Tavernier corner, though, in it comes. Cholak's up, heads it over the bar. And look at Joe Hart, immediately goes to the replacement ball and thinks about getting Celtic away as quickly as he can. Absolutely,
and every single player's like that, including Joe Hart. I think he enjoys doing it. He's been trusted by his managers to play everything out from the back, and so far that's not been a real problem for him today, and Chelsea have played out from the back very, very well. Very noticeable. Do you know the stats are 50-50 in possession just now?
Right.
But Celtics is a different type. It's lightning quick.
Here we go again. O'Reilly, edge of the Rangers penalty area. Abildgard, first time ball across the face of the box, intercepted by Goldson. Clearance goes straight up in the air, breaks for Ryan Kent. Side foots a little pass inside his own half to Malik Tillman. Celtic 2, Rangers 0 at Goodison Park. Still Everton 0, Liverpool 0. Giacomakis thought he should have had a free kick, doesn't get it. Rangers keep playing. Kent on to Davis. Davis gets support from Barisic on the left-hand side. Barisic one-on-one here with Juranovic. Barisic tries to take him on the outside. Juranovic sticks with him, tackles him, throw in Rangers.
Juranovic has done very well. He's much smaller man against Barisic, but at no point there did you think Barisic was going to get past him.
Throw-in taken by Barisic, gets it back, in comes the cross towards Tillman at the far post, side-footed wide, Rangers appealing for a penalty. Cholak was challenging for the header in the middle of the box with one of the Celtic centre-backs. Celtic immediately get going again from the goal kick, forward to Hatate, now Jota able to control it and take it past Tavernier. Tavernier desperately trying to get back at him, stops him. Stops the momentum anyway. Jota keeps the ball, plays the 1-2 with Taylor, infield to Hatate. Hatate in the middle of the Rangers half, turns and finds Abada. Hatate wants it back. Abada goes on his outside. Giacomakis shoots across the face of goal. McLaughlin had it covered, and it goes behind for a Rangers goal.
They don't think twice, do they? As soon as they get into a wide area, they zip it into dangerous areas, sometimes behind the centre-backs, but sometimes they cut it back as well, and they've got so many players rushing into that box that they always look dangerous. But just at the moment, since Jota scored his goal, you mentioned about the little tricks and the snake hips before. The way he makes space when there's 2 or 3 players right beside him is spectacular, and he's signed that contract with Celtic. It's a lot of money for him to be spent on him. At the moment, it's looking very cheap. Yeah, 3 of the signings this summer, loans that became permanent deals for key players like that. Maeda, one of them on the bench, Carter Vickers, who was fabulous in the heart of defence, and Jota, another. O'Reilly on the ball for Celtic. Celtic flooding forward. Jota moving at pace into the box. Step over. Driven with his left foot. McLaughlin saves with his feet. Could have been 3-0. At the moment, Rangers don't know where to turn. And it is that gap again. We were telling him that number 10 position. And time again, that man O'Reilly gets into that area and they just no idea how to stop him. Greg Taylor, low cut back into the box. This one, Abada! 3-0 to Celtic. Lurking at the far post, smashes it through John McLaughlin, and the Celtic fans can barely believe their eyes. Absolutely rampant at the start of this season and running all over their greatest rivals in the derby. Celtic 3, Rangers 0, and there's still 5 minutes left in the first half. Well, the next goal was always going to be important at 2-0. Had Rangers got it, we thought this is still out in the open, but they didn't get it. Celtic got it, and they have deserved it. Rangers, once again, they try and play out for the back, but they're so slow in playing out for the back. And when Celtic win it in the midfield there, they are so quick to get. And that area that I was telling you about, the number 10 area, that man O'Reilly gets the ball again and he gives it out to Jota. He has a shot that is saved well, but then Celtic don't turn off. It's a quick throw again.
We thought that Celtic were rampant in the game in February, that you saw them 3-0. This is ahead of schedule. It was 42 minutes when they scored the third, only 39 this time.
Roddy Forsyth and Pat Nevin sitting alongside me at Celtic Park. Celtic are flying. Celtic 3, Rangers 0. Mas Faruqi at Goodison Park.
Still goalless here. Home fans very unhappy though with Simicas into the starting 11, of course, for Liverpool today. As Nunes goes for a shot that hits the crossbar. That's the closest Liverpool have got. So yeah, Liverpool hitting the woodwork at one end, Everton at the other, as Diaz also hits a shot which just bounces off the underside of the crossbar. So Liverpool hitting the woodwork twice, but still Everton 0, Liverpool 0.
Thank you, Maz. Ryan Kent tripped on the move for Rangers inside the Celtic half. Celtic 3, Rangers 0. I mean, non-stop for the players. Bedlam in the stands. And actually, as you were just saying, Pat, trying to keep an eye on it as a commentator's hard enough as well. Yeah, no, it is absolutely incredible the way that Celtic have driven forward there. Lots of players in very, very good form. Rangers don't know where to turn. Let's just get Roddy in again if we can.
There's a spectator immediately in front of us dressed very nattily, and he's just informed me he feels he can now go to the wedding he's destined to go to because the game is over.
He looks, oh, I see, he's going to leave at half-time, is he, Roddy?
Well, he was going to leave at some stage early, but he wanted to make sure the game was done.
Yeah, he is looking very dapper. It's a sort of pork pie hat he's wearing right in front of us. Joe Hart on the ball inside his own 6-yard box. Celtic leading Rangers by 3-0, and in all probability, unless there's a miraculous comeback in this game, going 5 points clear at the top of the table ahead of Rangers. 28 goals now in 5.5 games and just 1 conceded. Yeah, and maybe that's a big worry for Rangers as well. Try and get back into the game. Celtic don't concede goals either. You know, they defend well, they work very hard as a unit together. The 2 centre-backs have got a really good understanding, the Starfelt and Carter Vickers. The problem is work rate and the slowness. I have to say, Rangers aren't slow at build-up. They're just slower than Celtic. That's the problem for them just now. And the other problem they've got is they've got a whole bunch of players that can bring on, and I don't think they're weakened. Yeah. That was the point, actually, Pat. I was listening to the Friday Football Social last night on 5 Live, available as a podcast on the BBC Sounds app. James McFadden was on last night, and he was talking about exactly that. Celtic bringing players on from the bench who improve it, really, you know, or keep it going.
I'll give you another option, but do it at that pace as well.
Yes, exactly. Here's Kent. Away from Carter Vickers, nearly tripped. Cholak tries to get it back to Kent. The referee played an advantage, then goes back. Really, at the behest of the Rangers players who complained because it looked like he wasn't going to go back and give him the free kick, and Carter Vickers is actually booked. And I think he probably should have been for the challenge, because he did cynically try and stop Kent, who was past him.
Yeah, it's in a dangerous area. Kent actually got himself in a brilliant position, and it was flicking by, well, double check, see if it was Carter Vickers. I noticed that McGregor was looking a little bit upset there for a moment, but whoever it was, he certainly left a leg in there and stopped Kent going forward. The referee was right, that is a yellow card. And Rangers also get the free kick.
Right, we'll confirm who that is in a second. Barisic, high free kick into the box. Joe Hart comes out, grabs it in both hands, and an enormous roar rings out around Celtic Park. Moving into the last minute of the first half. Another spectacular first half performance from Celtic, and actually I was looking at the Rangers players lining up in team formation, waiting for the Celtic players to finish their celebrations for the third goal, and they looked as though, and it must be the case in a derby game like this if you're getting stuffed, they looked as though they just wanted the ground to swallow them up. Horrible experience.
And the thing is, it's a bit of a shock. I think you might have been right with Carter Vickers. It is a bit of a shock because they've been doing so well recently, and they've got to that European final, and you know, there's a real confidence. Now, I walked in long before the game started, and all the Rangers fans were, you know, alongside me. They were in great bunch with great confidence. They and the players are in total shock just now.
Real Madrid here on Tuesday night, full commentary of that game, opening game in Celtic's group in the Champions League. Ajax Rangers full commentary on that one on 5 Live. 5:45 kickoff on Wednesday, followed by Liverpool's trip to Naples to face Napoli, also in Rangers group. 2 minutes of added time at the end of the first half. What a first half it's been for Celtic Football Club, leading Rangers by 3-0. Kamara has the ball for Rangers, wide on the left. Barisic scoops it back to him. Kamara tries to control it, back heel flicks it to Barisic, dummies the cross first time, then whips it into the near post. Carter Vickers is there, his clearance goes miles up in the air. Hart's got to be careful, punches it away. Stephen Davis on the volley, looping, but soft and gentle and very easy to save for Joe Hart.
Yeah, I actually thought he did quite well with his punch before then, because he's under a lot of pressure from the centre forward there, but he got a little bit of distance on it, but there was no power whatsoever on the shot there. The question is in my mind just now, what does Van Bronckhorst do at half-time? You know, he's got to do something. Will he adapt the system? You know, does he need to get a little bit more energy in that midfield? Because Rangers have had very little impact in that midfield. Davis is a very good player, but he's been run away from all the time by younger, stronger players that have left him in his wake. And I love him as a player, but at the moment, he's just been bypassed. 40
seconds remaining in added time at the end of the first half. First half of dreams for Celtic fans, leading Rangers 3-0. Still Everton 0, Liverpool 0. Mas Faruqi will have the half-time details for you shortly as well. Chelsea, West Ham, your next commentary on 5 Live this afternoon. Kicks off at 3 o'clock. Usual goal service provided by Ian Dennis, who's got Tony Pulis alongside him this afternoon. Last attacking chance for Rangers in the first half. Can they get one back? Kamara wide to Kent. Kent on the corner of the Rangers box. Barisic in support outside. Stands the cross up into the box. Ball's loose inside 6-yard box. Carter Vickers hacks it away for Celtic. Celtic now looking for the half-time whistle. Lundstrom needs to get this ball in early. Plays across to Stephen Davis. I think Celtic have done enough to keep Rangers at bay. And the Celtic fans get to their feet. Celtic lead Rangers by 3-0 at half-time. They've been too quick, too good, and too clinical, Pat Nevin.
I've watched this before with Ange Postecoglou's side. You know, they started that incredible pace, but they've got real quality. And to be 3-0 up and probably have your most favoured player taken off after a couple of minutes as well, and it's had absolutely no effect on it at all. They're worthy of that 3-goal lead just now, just with the attitude, the pace that they've played at, the beautiful football, particularly from the wide players, and I would add on top of that O'Reilly as well. So they're 3-0 up just now. Rangers have been here before as well. What can they do to change it? Did they just hope Celtic start to slow down a bit?
Well, they did, of course, in the February game. The season ticket holders all around us were urging them to double their half-time margin. That didn't happen. But here's an ominous figure for Rangers. Not only if this game finishes as we expected to do with the Celtic victory, will they be 5 points behind after 6 games. The goal difference between the sides, Celtic plus 23, Rangers plus 8. Celtic having scored 3 times more virtually, and that's worth an extra point.
The champions playing like the champions at Celtic Park. They've been irresistible. Celtic 3, Rangers 0.
Pat Nevin, when you talk about Ange Ball, as the Celtic fans love to call it, you see them up against a team like Rangers and you really see the power of it and, more importantly, the speed of it.
Yeah, and it's, it seems easy to see, but it's a lot of teams trying to do this. I mean, certainly in England, there are teams that want to play at that high intensity. It's hard to do, to keep it at that pace, but also keep the ball and make the right decisions all the time. And the manager asks a lot of them, but they keep on doing it. They don't care who it's against. It might be Dundee United and they get 9 goals, but they don't care. They'll do the same against Rangers as well. And I have a suspicion they're going to try and do the same against Real Madrid. It's a hard thing to keep on doing, but the belief that you have to do that, the quality on the ball you have to do that, everyone must buy into it. Rangers, actually, I don't think they've been terrible. They just haven't been as quick as Celtic. Don't forget a couple of things. Rangers have put maybe 3 or 4 good crosses into the kind of Celtic's area where Colak's been able to attack it, and they maybe should have got one of those goals, but that's taken nothing away from the fact that every single time Celtic attack against Rangers, and indeed everyone, they look capable of scoring.
3 first-half goals for Celtic, none at Goodison Park, but I don't know how, Maz Faruqi.
Yeah, goalless here at Goodison at the break, Steve, but I think Frank Lampard, aside from perhaps the last couple of minutes before half-time when Liverpool really took back the momentum, will be pretty happy so far. Davies hitting the left-hand post after a Mopé chance was blocked. Patterson doing really well in the build-up to that chance, but Núñez, as you said, then hitting the crossbar at the other end, and then the rebound fell to Diaz, who somehow his shot also bounced off the woodwork to safety. So both sides coming really close indeed to goals, and it's been fiery as well. Tsimikas has really been getting stuck in, a couple of coming together with Gordon, one with Gray. The home fans think he should have been booked, but the only yellow card of the game so far has gone to Onana for a body check on Carvalho. Somehow, though, it's still Everton 0, Liverpool 0.
Our racing action is coming from Haydock this afternoon. We mentioned this possible star, the 2-year-old Naval Power, odds-on favourite in the first race of the day, and John Hunt was watching.
Down to the final furlong, and the hot favourite Naval Power looks in real trouble here. Not only is he under pressure, he's short of racing room, as now Dancing Magic comes through. Naval Power at last gets a gap. My word, it's been hard work, but he's forging to the front, and his last 100 metres is impressive enough. Naval Power remains unbeaten. There was a scare along the way, but that's now 4 out of 4 for this exciting young 2-year-old.
That's John Hunt in a tape, and here is John Hunt live. John, I imagine a win is a win, but at the same time, that's not the performance they were looking for.
Yeah, I suppose so, Steve. For a lot of that race, he looked as though he was struggling, but as I said in the commentary there, he was at the line, he was nice and strong, which is where it counts, isn't it? And bearing in mind that was his first time stepping up in race distance to a mile, I think he's pulled it out of the fire there. I think that was satisfactory enough. It's the start of a really great day's racing here, Steve. Looking forward to the Queen's Runner Reach for the Moon in the next race. We'll report on how he gets on. Remember, at the start of the year, everybody in racing was hoping he would be the horse who would give the Queen a legitimate Derby horse for the year. That didn't materialise. He was beaten at Royal Ascot, so he's on a retrieval mission to some extent this afternoon, his first run since the summer. And then, of course, the feature race of the day, the Betfair Sprint Cup. It's a great sprint, first run in 1969. Only once has it been won 2 times running by the same horse, and Emirati Anna bids to become the second horse to do that this afternoon. One of the favourites, as indeed is Naval Crown and Minzal, with Jim Crowley on board too. Good race that at 3:30, but we're all already underway with that Naval Power. Yeah, I think they'll be pleased enough with that. I'll go get some reaction from trainer Charlie Appleby, but I'd imagine he'll be targeting some of the very big autumn 2-year-old races. The likes of the Dewhurst at Newmarket come to mind. We'll find out more on that later in the day, Steve.
Thank you very much, John. So yeah, John will tell us about the 3:30, and there's the 1:45 before that he will keep us up to date with. Coming up next, we'll be back at Flushing Meadows. We'll tell you more about F1 qualifying in the Netherlands, and we'll take you to Stamford Bridge for the first time, which is our base from and 3 o'clock for full commentary of Chelsea versus West Ham. Second half commentary from the Old Firm derby on the way as well after the news with Richard Foster.
Listen on BBC Sounds. This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
There are renewed fears about energy supplies to Europe this winter because the Nord Stream 1 gas pipeline is being closed indefinitely. Gazprom, the Russian company which runs it, has blamed an oil leak. Verity Davidge is from Make UK, which supports manufacturing businesses.
60% of companies are now telling us that energy costs are business threatening. To put that kind of the scale and the speed of this struggle right now, when we asked that question 4 months ago, it was just 8%. So we've gone from 8% of companies telling us this is business threatening to 60%.
Mikhail Gorbachev's funeral is taking place in Moscow. He died on Tuesday at the age of 91. Thousands of people have spent the past few hours paying their respects as his coffin lay in state. Another COVID vaccine's been approved for use in the UK. It's a bivalent jab, meaning it targets 2 coronavirus variants at the same time. People in England and Scotland will start to get their latest boosters on Monday. Peter Openshaw is a professor of experimental medicine at Imperial College London.
I would reassure people that if they are offered the previous version as a booster, that still gives very, very good protection over the ensuing 6 months or so. But the bivalent new versions are expected to give a better antibody response.
And the Mayor of Greater Manchester, Andy Burnham, has welcomed the resignation of the head of Avanti West Coast, the train operator. Phil Whittingham's been criticised for cutting the number of trains per hour between London and Manchester from 3 to 1 because of staff shortages.
This is a message for parents whose child is going away to university. To prevent excessive moping, as you wistfully contemplate the pottery elephant they made in Year 3 and wonder, when will I hear from them? We suggest getting them a TV licence. Then they'll be covered to watch or stream live TV on any channel or device and watch BBC iPlayer, so they can still enjoy the shows you love to watch together. And who knows, they might even send the odd message when something dramatic happens. Have something in common. Search TV Licence Uni.
This is 5 Live Sport with Steve Crossman.
Both sides of it, the woodwork in the first half in the Merseyside derby, and Jordan Pickford made a brilliant save from Darwin Núñez, but it is Everton 0, Liverpool 0. In our commentary game, it's Celtic 3, Rangers 0. Abildgard with his 5th and 6th of the season. Second half commentary on the way. In rugby union, New Zealand have managed to avoid a 4th consecutive home defeat. They lost to Argentina last Saturday, but they beat the same team 53-3 at Eden Park this morning. South Africa play Australia in the Rugby Championship later. Overnight at Flushing Meadows, Andy Murray and Jack Draper were both knocked out. We also saw Serena Williams bow out from tennis for good after her defeat to Alia Tomljanovic. Gigi Salmon and Laura Robson have been reflecting on it for us out in New York.
We knew this was going to be it for Serena Williams, the final tournament. It has now come to an end. So where do you start when looking back on the career of Serena Williams?
Where do you start is exactly right. She's won everything there is to have won. She's achieved everything that she ever dreamed of, and from growing up watching her on TV to watching this final match, it's all been special, hasn't it? And there's been highs and lows throughout. She's been injured, she's come back, she's faced great adversity over the years, and yet she just is the GOAT for so many people. The way that she's transcended the sport, I don't think there's another athlete like Serena Williams.
For the moment I stepped off the plane in New York, I don't know if it was the same for you. Everyone was talking about it, from the taxi driver to the media bus driver to anyone I came across who saw my accreditation. They wanted to talk about Serena Williams and how she's somehow affected some part of their life.
For sure, and she's, you know, as we said, transcended the sport in ways that even Roger Federer or Rafa Nadal haven't, because she's brought people in, she's made everyone emotional about watching her. They tune in, and the ratings this week have just been skyrocketing for Serena. Everyone has been talking about her. It was almost the fairy tale that no one even dared to dream of when she came through the first couple of rounds, but it wasn't to be, and it was the most special night that we've just had watching that final match. And for Serena, it was it was a special send-off, but she's just had the most amazing career humanly possible. It's hard to imagine anyone ever living up to Serena's legacy, but of course they'll try.
We don't have enough time to go through her CV. It's very, very long, but just a few numbers. 73 singles titles she will finish on, 23 of them Grand Slam titles. She won the first of her 23 Grand Slam singles titles 23 years ago here at the US Open. She has 14 Grand Slam doubles titles with sister Venus. It's unbelievable how she kept the hunger and she kept the passion going for as long as she did.
She really did. It's hard to imagine how much effort she's put in over the years at resetting, at coming back from injuries, from difficulties in childbirth, and even coming back one final time a couple of months ago at Wimbledon. It would take a momentous amount of effort to even step out onto the court, but she just finds a way, and it's hard to believe that she's done now, because she's been part of everyone's life in the tennis world for decades, and it will be a weird landscape without her, won't it?
But rest assured, this is not the last you will hear from Serena Williams. She banned the R word. She talked about evolving. She still has so much to give, but from what we know, as far as we know, the curtain has now come down on her glittering tennis career.
Gigi Salmon and Laura Robson. Their commentary, by the way, on the matches involving Cam Norrie and Dan Evans in their third round matches from 4 o'clock on the BBC Sport website and app. Let's evolve away to Formula One. Qualifying for the Dutch Grand Prix gets underway at 2 p.m. You can listen to that on the BBC Sport website. And Jenny Gow will keep us posted. It is the World Champions home Grand Prix, Jenny.
It is, and the orange flares are already lit in this beautiful circuit right by the seaside. Zandvoort is the town that the race has come to, and it couldn't be a better backdrop for Max Verstappen. He has a 93-point lead in the championship, and he'll be looking to take pole position and a win in front of over 100,000 screaming Verstappen fans. It feels like everyone here is a fan of his, but qualifying is going to get underway in about half an hour's time, and it's very, very tight between the top 6 drivers. I feel like any of them could get pole, and this is a circuit that's really hard to overtake on. So that is a big prize looming for whoever grabs it today. Will it be Verstappen, Leclerc, or maybe the Mercedes? We shall find out very shortly.
Thank you very much, Jenny. 2 more commentaries on 5 Live this afternoon, even when we're done at Celtic Park. At 5:30, Aston Villa against Manchester City are base. At 3 o'clock, Stamford Bridge for Chelsea against West Ham. That's where we find Ian Dennis. Afternoon, Ian.
Hello, Steve. How are you?
Yeah, very good. Thomas Tuchel is going to want a reaction today.
Yes, he will, after their defeat to Southampton in midweek against a West Ham United side that is just starting to find its feet. I mean, I was at Villa Park last week when they got when they scored their first goal in the Premier League season, undoubtedly their first win as well, and they've built that up with a solid point against Tottenham in midweek. Don't necessarily have a particularly good track record against Chelsea here at Stamford Bridge. So, yeah, you're right. I think Chelsea will be looking for a response, but there's no Aubameyang, still out with that broken jaw, and Zakaria didn't get the work permit, not registered in time from his loan move from Juventus.
Do you think David Moyes has already got that response? Have they turned things round after that awful start?
Yeah, it was interesting because the first half last week at Villa Park, they played with 5 in defence, and they lacked fluency, and they struggled to get men forward and didn't really cause Villa any problems. And then he changed to a back 4, and they looked much more like their normal selves, had an extra man in midfield, all of a sudden had options, and in the end I thought that they created the better chances and deserved the win last Sunday. So just starting to find a little bit of form now, and of course we've got the biggest spenders in the Premier League, Chelsea, the biggest ever spenders in the history of the Premier League, against this season's 3rd biggest spenders, West Ham. So we'll just see what comes out of it from this London derby.
Ian, thank you very much indeed. Full commentary, our base at 3 o'clock. Stamford Bridge for that one, Chelsea versus West Ham. And Ian, we'll have Tony Pulis alongside him. Just noticed Roberto Firmino has come on as the second half gets underway in the Merseyside derby. And Celtic have just announced a new signing on the pitch, as if things could be going any better for them, Ali Bruce Ball.
Yeah, that's right. That's the Danish midfielder Oliver Abildgard, not involved today, but he's going to add a little bit of muscle and power and and stamina to the Celtic midfield. Not needed him today at all. Rangers are making a change at half-time. I guess that's unsurprising. Glenn Kamara's coming off, Scott Wright is coming on. Alfredo Morelos was out there warming up with the substitutes with his blue tracksuit on. Celtic leading Rangers, Pat Nevin, by 3-0. And you genuinely did need half-time there to catch your breath. It was breathtaking the first half.
Yeah, it's amazing when people downstairs I talked to on the way down to have a cup of tea. They said, this is ridiculous, this pace, this speed, this non-stop, you know, hurricane that is attacking Rangers just now. But they do it all the time. It's not because it's an Old Firm game. It's because that's the way Celtic play. It's quite extraordinary to watch, and it must be horrendous to play against.
Rangers have been out there for a couple of minutes. The rain is now drumming down. The floodlights underneath the stadium roofs are flashing on and off to welcome the Celtic players back onto the field. Green and white hoops for them, playing from right to left in the second half towards the Jock Stein stand. And it looks like it's going to be one of those derby days for the Celtic fans. They lead Rangers by 3-0. Second half about to get underway. Maz Faruqi watching the Merseyside derby. Maz, what's going on with you?
Yeah, we're underway here, about a minute and a half or so played in the second half. Still goalless. Klopp has made a change, though, as Steve said. Firmino, the first goal scorer from Wednesday night against Newcastle, is on for the second goal scorer from that game, Carvalho. He did go down requiring a bit of treatment after that challenge from Onana in the latter stages of the first half. So just the one change for Liverpool at half-time. Still Everton 0, Liverpool 0.
Thank you, Maz. Liverpool having already dropped 7 points in 5 games so far this season. Everton looking for their first win in the Premier League. 3 draws in their last 3 games. So Maz will keep us updated on that. We heard from Ian Dennis at half-time. He's in the hot seat as usual. 3 o'clock this afternoon. Chelsea against West Ham. All the goals as they go in. 5:30 commentaries this season from the Premier League are on 5 Live as well. And today that's Aston Villa against Manchester City. So Rangers in the blue shirts, the white shorts, the black socks with the red tops. What do you think, Pat Nevin, the approach has to be?
I think they've changed the system. I think they went for more of a 4-2-3-1. Wright seems to have gone in the kind of right-hand side up front a little bit. And that's given a little opportunity for Tillman to win in almost a number 10 position. So it's more of a 4-2-3-1 they're playing now. So ultra positive.
Well, Carter Vickers has slipped there, trying to clear the ball, and Lundstrom is onto it inside the Celtic half. If Rangers can get one back early on in the second half, then you never know.
Yeah, I mean, if you're 3-0 down, you're away from home, it's your biggest rivals. Do you think, well, I don't want a hammering here if you're Gio? Or do you think, no, we don't give up, we're Rangers, we are going to have a little bit of a go at it, and also try and match Celtic up, because tactically he was outthought. In fact, every way Gio was outthought in that first half by Ange Postecoglou.
So Rangers, Joe Hart in goal, Juranovic, Carter Vickers on a yellow card, Starfelt and Taylor the back 4. Matt O'Reilly has really stood out in the Celtic midfield this afternoon. Callum McGregor, Rio Hatate alongside him, Leo Labada with 2 goals, Jota with 1 of the 2 wide men. Kyogo went off injured early, which brought Georgios Giacomakis into the action. He's on the ball right now, and he's playing it to O'Reilly, who's trying to get it back to him with a little scoop ball down the middle of the pitch, but intercepted by Scott Wright. Wright was playing a pass to Stephen Davis, wanted to get it back, and he just stopped playing because he felt Greg Taylor had pushed him, and the referee just shrugged and said, well, you got to play on. Scott Wright steps in and now wins a ball for Rangers. Ryan Kent onto it just inside his own half. Slides it to Scott Wright. Nice movement from Wright. Plays it to his left. Cholak's not going to have the pace to get to that. Carter Vickers there first. Back to Joe Hart it goes, the Celtic keeper, and he launches his clearance downfield.
Do you know that point that you made there about turning around the referee and not Georgia? Roddy spotted it first, right at the start of the game. I've just watched Lundstrom doing exactly the same thing. They got to go on with the game.
Here's a question for you. You're 3-0 up in an Old Firm derby, and Real Madrid are coming in Tuesday. Do you now conserve your energy?
Yeah, good question, Roddy. Let's check in at Goodison Park again. Maz Faruqi.
Still 0-0, but a good chance for Liverpool and Tsimikas. Admittedly, the ball did come to him at quite a tight angle on the left-hand side of the 6-yard box, but he blasted it over the crossbar. I think he should have got it on target as it came to him from the right from Harvey Elliott. Still Everton 0, Liverpool 0.
3 minutes gone in the second half here in Glasgow. Celtic 3, Rangers 0. Whirlwind first half from Celtic, as it was in the Old Firm derby back in February when they won that game 3-0, 3 goals in the first half. Tillman's wide on the left, in comes the cross. Starfelt in a good position for Celtic at the near post, heads it away. Second clearance not so good. Stephen Davis onto it for Rangers, plays back to the halfway line. The American Centre-back James Sands to Lundstrom, now to Goldson. Goldson sees Tavernier in a bit of space on the right. Tavernier uses his first touch to get away from Greg Taylor. Scott Wright, loads of space on the right. Low cross into the near post. Carter Vickers defends. Rangers throw. Pat Nevin.
Again, noticeably, you're getting a little bit more positivity from Tavernier right at the start of this second half. He was in the back post when the ball came from the left-hand side. Didn't reach in there, but he was free. And on this occasion there, he links up with Wright and almost gets a cross in. So Tavernier much more positive. And as Roddy said, when he plays well, Rangers tend to.
Stephen Davis cross into the penalty area. Joe Hart off his line, throws himself forward, catches it now. Hatate caught in possession. Lundstrom onto it. Lundstrom drives a shot with his left foot. Carter Vickers is there to block for Celtic. The rebound comes out to Jota on the left-hand side. Lovely cushion layoff from O'Reilly into Hatate. Hatate trying to get Abildgard away. The ball is in behind Barisic. Giakoumakis trying to make ground in the middle, and the cross is behind him. And James Sands actually did really well to try and stick with Giakoumakis and make sure he wasn't able to cleanly run onto it if it was a decent cross.
And of course that's the problem Rangers have got. They're trying to push up a little bit higher. They've won the ball a couple of times quite high up the field. They didn't do that in the first half. They've done that once or twice already in the second half. Problem is, when you push that many players forward, you can be broken on, and with the pace and the skill that Celtic have got, particularly in the wide areas, that's a danger, but it's a chance they've got to take.
I have to say, Pat, talking about your chats at half-time with those down in the press room, you only told a half-truth there about your cup of tea. How good are those pies that Celtic do?
Those pies are absolutely ridiculous.
They're
so good.
They're small, aren't they? That's the lovely thing about them, so you can sort of not feel guilty about having a couple.
And the steak pie, before anyone says it's not the old-fashioned Scottish one everyone usually knows about. They're nice.
Good. They're good. Back here on Tuesday night for the Real Madrid game, actually, and I'm already looking forward to half-time. Celtic 3, Rangers 0. Everton 0, Liverpool 0. Tavernier on the ball for Rangers, who did, at 1-0 down, have a spell in the first half where they were putting Celtic under pressure and then got blown away.
Yeah, well, they were passing it well and they held the ball well, but they weren't doing it quick enough to cause Celtic too many problems. The one danger area is getting the ball away, putting it in a line Colak to go and attack it.
Yeah.
But so far, against two very good defenders in Carter Vickers and Starfelt, he's not had that many clear-cut chances. 6
minutes gone in the second half. Rangers playing out from the back. James Sands chased by Giakoumakis. It comes back to the goalkeeper, McLaughlin, who's in orange for Rangers. Floated diagonal to the right. That's a 50-50 between Tavernier and Taylor. Taylor got the leap on Tavernier. Goldson's been caught on the right foot as he made the tackle and the clearance, just holding the top of his right foot, so we're going to get a slight stoppage in play before the Celtic throw.
Yeah, it's one of those classic ones where Hatate's gone for the ball, he studs her up, and the defenders just kick through him, Goldson there, and there's no complaints about it. These things happen sometimes in football. Isn't it nice for the defenders not to roll about and make an absolute song and dance about it?
Throw in Celtic. Greg Taylor just tiptoeing his way down the touchline on the left, stealing a few yards. Can't find Giakoumakis with the throw. First time clearance is well beyond Antonio Colak. Croatian centre forward for Rangers, signed from PAOK in the summer, and has found his feet early. Morelos on the bench, as we keep saying. Wonder what time we might see him. Wasn't overly exerting himself in the warm-up at half-time, I would say.
That was the understatement of the day so far. Everyone else had, their kit off, ready to go on if needed. No, full tracksuit on.
Yeah.
And just basically didn't warm up, he wandered.
Barisic under pressure, chasing back for Rangers, can only knock the ball out of play, and it's going to be a quick one, of course it is. Juranovic takes the throw, plays it to Abildgard. Hatate back out to the right. Juranovic looking for that ball down the line. Rangers get an interception in this time. They try and play out. Starfelt read it. Oh, he missed the ball there. Caught Tillman, and Rangers suddenly on the counter. Colak chasing a ball. Carter Vickers sticks with him. Colak is away to the right of the Celtic penalty area. He's got two Celtic players behind him. Done well, actually, initially, to try and bundle his way past Carter Vickers, but Carter Vickers too strong, knocks him off the ball, and Jota's using a few fancy skills in the left-back position. Then Carter Vickers with a little chip pass to Taylor, the layoff to Jota. Celtic fans are loving it. If this ends up in the back of the net, it's going to be some team goal. Hatate wide on the left-hand side to Jota, looks for the back heel, and eventually the move ends there. John Lundstrom says, no, not today.
Yeah, and essentially a bit of a head knock there for Jota. I think he did get something in the face. It's whether it was deliberate. Sometimes the players come together and it isn't deliberate. And again, from the angle we're at, it's difficult to see. There was also I felt a little bit earlier on in that move, and I'm trying to see who it was. Maybe Starfelt that went in for the tackle. He's now gone down injured as well.
Everton 0, Liverpool 0 it remains. While we wait for Jota to recover, we're going to cross to Haydock. Racing at Haydock today, John Hunt is there. News of the Superior Miles Stakes. John?
Yes, in that race we were hoping to see one of the highest profile horses of the day, the Queen's Reach for the Moon. However, he's been withdrawn. The ground's too quick for him, together with 25 other horses today. They were all expecting the rain to fall, but for once, Ali, on Merseyside, it hasn't yet happened. So, Reach for the Moon, sadly, a non-runner in the second race today.
How was Salisbury on Thursday, John? It closed my golf course again.
Absolutely beautiful, but I found all your balls sprayed everywhere, Ali. Yeah, I've got about a dozen of them in the car. I'll see you soon.
That's the second tee. If you're right off the second tee, you're on to Salisbury Racecourse. That's what John's talking about. So, John Hunt at Haydock for us this afternoon. The rain is falling here. Jota's picked himself up. Starfelt is still flat on his back for Celtic. So let's get to Goodison Park. I think last we heard still 0-0, wasn't it, Maz?
Still 0-0 as well, Ali, now, but another chance for Liverpool, which if Nunes had got power on it, would have beaten Pickford, do you think? It came to him at a comfortable pace and height in the end, Pickford. It was a right-footed shot from Nunes from across from the right. Liverpool better going forward in this second half so far, but still goalless. Everton 0, Liverpool 0.
Right, Starfelt's picked himself up. Celtic Swedish centre-back. He seems to be okay. Ange Postecoglou won't want to take risks. He's got Moritz Jens on the bench, a German who's on loan from Lorient this season, who's played a bit of football. And Starfelt also got booked, Pat, for the late challenge on Tillman in the build-up to the Rangers counter-attack.
I can understand why the referee did that, but it's a wee bit harsh on him, I think. He went for the ball there, completely missed it. Didn't have a clean contact in the Rangers player either, so a wee bit harsh on him.
OK, well, he's in no danger of getting a red card. He's coming off, Starfelt. Celtic down to 10 men for the time being. Jens is ready to come on. Celtic defending across from the left from Barisic. Celtic 3, Rangers 0. Celtic moving 5 points clear at the top of the Scottish Premiership table with the visit of Real Madrid to come on Tuesday night. They've met each other once before in European competition. European Cup quarter-finals back in 1980. Celtic won the first leg at home by 2-0, and Real Madrid won the second leg 3-0 and went through.
I have a huge suspicion I was at those first
Really?
Yes.
Jens is on, warmly applauded onto the field by the Celtic fans. 23 years old, has made 3 starts in the Premiership this season. This is a different level, though. This is the Old Firm derby. First thing that strikes me watching him, and you'd expect it of a centre-back, I wouldn't want to run into him. He looks solid.
Well, all 3 Celtic centre-backs you've seen today have been big, solid players, and certainly Carter Vickers is. He's a monster at the back there, but he's also fit as well as being strong.
11 minutes gone, second half. Pat Nevin with us here as Alfredo Morelos strips the bib off, unzips the tracksuit top. What sort of performance attitude are we going to get from Rangers striker? Getting ready to come on in the game. 18 Old Firm derbies he's played in, sent off twice and scored 2 goals. So as many goals as red cards in these games. Rangers desperately needing a goal. Challenge on Kent. Jota with the back heel. Hatate was behind him. Runs away from Tavernier. Out the ball goes for a Celtic throw. I can see Scott Arfield getting ready to come on as well, Pat, for Rangers.
I wouldn't be surprised if he'd have started. I'm trying to think that Real Madrid game you were talking about.
Yep.
Did Laurie Cunningham play?
Yes, he did.
In that case, I was at the game.
Oh, wow. Great diagonal ball fired across the field to the right, which Abildgard is able to keep in. But it allowed Barisic to slide in, make a clean challenge on him. The rain continues to sweep across Celtic Park, and the songs continue to boom out loud from the home fans, leading Rangers 3-0. O'Reilly, clever headed down, edge of the penalty area. Celtic going forward. McGregor twisting and turning. Giacomakis trying to make space for a shot. 3 blue shirts in his way. Goldson side foots a pass away. Can't find Kent. Celtic back on the ball again. So Arfield and Morelos getting ready to come on for Rangers. O'Reilly's curling cross in from the right, and McLaughlin down on his knees gathers it at the near post.
Of course, with this rain, if that ball zips off, it's going to be a difficult one for the goalkeeper. But a better start to the second half for Rangers. I mean, Celtic haven't been able to absolutely dominate, but then that was the way the first half started too.
Celtic 3, Rangers 0. Sliding challenge from Greg Taylor stops Tavernier in his tracks. Celtic moving forward, not quite at the same speed as it was in the first half, but here's Abildgard. Look at the speed from Juranovic trying to get in support. Played to O'Reilly, strokes on with his left foot. The shot is blocked by Goldson. Plays it back here to Abildgard. Abildgard pokes it past Kent, and every little bit of skill that beats a Rangers man and makes them look rather foolish gets a huge roar from the Celtic fans. 13.5 minutes gone in the second half. 5 Live and BBC Sounds. Some brilliant commentaries on the way for you today and tomorrow. Chelsea, West Ham at 3 o'clock. Aston Villa, Manchester City at 5:30 this afternoon. 5 Live's Premier League Sunday has 2 more tomorrow. Juranovic's cross into the penalty area behind Giakoumakis. Hatate can't get there. Rangers clear to the halfway line. Carter Vickers in control. Brings it down on his right instep. Another chance for Juranovic. Played to O'Reilly. Lovely velvet first touch. Cross in from the right's overhit. And over the bar it goes. Tomorrow's game's on 5 Live. 2 o'clock is Brighton-Leicester. As you were saying, Pat, in the show earlier on today, Brighton playing some wonderful stuff so far this season. Manchester United-Arsenal at 4:30 tomorrow on 5 Live.
Yeah, some fantastic games going up, you know, and I'll be looking forward to driving down the road after this game.
Yes.
This afternoon's commentary should be a good one.
Tillman off, Arfield on, Cholak off, Morelos on, and for the spectacle of the game, and listen to the roar that Morelos gets as he comes on the field and all the headlines that are always around him but have also been around him particularly this season. It sort of adds to the fun of the fair now for the last half hour.
Yes, there is a suspicion that it won't be completely quiet for Morelos between now and the end of the game.
Let's see what he's got. Right, so Moritz Jens bumps into him, ball comes up to him and he chests it down. He's a stocky, chunky centre forward. His light blue shirt, short sleeve, biceps bulging, makes a run into the inside right channel. Celtic leading Rangers by 3-0. Next break we get in play. We'll take you back to Goodison Park. Last we heard, still 0-0 in the Merseyside derby. Kent with a couple of step-overs here, bringing the ball forward for Rangers down the left-hand side. The rain has eased off for just a second. Kent is half-tackled, still chased. Eventually gets the pass away. Stephen Davis onto it for Rangers. Relentless running from Celtic with and without the ball.
Yeah, so without the ball stuff is mostly impressive because it's harder work to do, but they don't flinch.
Maz at Goodison Park.
Still goalless here. Chanson Patterson, though, just deflected wide, and Everton have a corner. A couple of subs. Robertson and Milner on for Liverpool. Alexander-Arnold, one of those that's gone off. And a second debut for Everton for Idrissa Gueye, obviously re-signed this window from PSG. He's come on for Tom Davies, who, remember, hit the post in the left-hand post, rather, in the first half. Both sides hitting the woodwork. Somehow, though, still 0-0. Everton 0, Liverpool 0.
Celtic 3, Rangers 0 it remains. 15 minutes gone in the second half. Celtic looking to take their chances still on the counter. O'Reilly is everywhere. He wins a throw wide on the right, takes it quickly, throws it to Abildgard. He's not allowed to take it quickly because it's been given the other way.
No, it's just
further back down.
Yeah, further back down
the field. And here he is, O'Reilly again. Celtic trying to work it in from the right. O'Reilly to Hatate, switches it onto his right foot and tries to slide a little ball through to Abildgard. Not quite on the same wavelength. Goal kick Rangers.
Yeah, Abildgard made a great run there across the line. I don't think he was offside. It was just behind him there. Had he been played through, you know, he'd have been 1-on-1 with the goalkeeper as well. And you know, every minute that goes by, it gets harder for Rangers because they've put a lot of effort in at the start of the second half. And of course, they're going to have said, you know, get out there, get an early goal, and you never know. They've not been able to create enough clear-cut chances since that half-time whistle.
Celtic 3, Rangers 0. Voice of Pat Nevin here on 5 Live. Barisic, a little unsure as to what to do. Roddy's friend is off to his wedding. Michael's off to the wedding. Where's the wedding, Roddy? Do you know any more details?
Yes, it's only about a mile away, so
right.
he's cutting it fine, I think.
He leaves a happy man, Celtic fan.
Just as long as it's not his daughter.
Or his own, Pat. Hatate with his right foot. Ball to the right, intercepted. Here come Rangers through the middle. Arfield gets his first touch since coming on. Plays it to Scott Wright. Morelos makes a run. Jens sticks with him. Wright goes on the outside. Cut back, looking for Morelos in the middle. Dealt with by Celtic. Jota dummies to clear down the line. Flicks it past Tavernier, makes a fool of him, and away he goes. Waits for Tavernier to come running past. Tavernier's had enough. Has a little kick at Jota, and the referee quite rightly just says to him, calm down.
Do you know, earlier in the game I said somebody will take him after those little dummies. That's never forgotten, is it? And that time he's done Tavernier again. Not many players do that to Tavernier, and he wasn't having it that time.
Guess what? Celtic have taken a free kick quickly. Jens across to Carter Vickers, deep inside their own half. Carter Vickers decides to come back to Joe Hart. Joe Hart across to Moritz Jens. The German's got a bit of space to run into. Long legs bring him quickly up to the halfway line. Clever pass between two Rangers players. Finds Hatate. Hatate still bringing it forward for Celtic. Up to the edge of the area and then slices the shot badly. And behind it goes for a goal kick. Back to Goodison Park, Maz Faruqi.
Some really good chances chances for both sides at either end. Mopé with a good save, forcing a good save from Allison, and 3 really good saves from Pickford at the other end. 2 from Firmino, 1 for Fabinho. This game is really opening up, but still Everton 0, Liverpool 0.
So deadlock yet to be broken there. Should say, by the way, Premier League highlights, match of the day, 10:25, BBC 1 tonight. Celtic 3, Rangers 0. Coming up to almost 20 minutes played in the second half here. Very, very similar game to the one Pat and Roddy and I watched in February. Celtic led 3-0 at half-time in that one, and it finished 3-0.
Yeah, and the fact that Celtic weren't able to keep quite the same pace up for the second half, and that has definitely been the case here. I mean, they don't look exhausted, but they certainly haven't been pushing Rangers back the same way.
Tavernier going the way he likes, forward down the right for Rangers. Scott Wright, tackled by McGregor, gets a little high five from Greg Taylor, throw in Rangers.
I'm slightly surprised that there's not been more changes for Celtic, although you have to remember they've made 2 already. You know, one of them enforced, actually both of them enforced, with Kyogo and Starfelt going off, so maybe Ange Postecoglou has to be careful.
Tavernier drives a first-time cross on the half volley, goes arcing away from Ryan Kent. And the Celtic fans are on their feet to give Tavernier the cheerio. And look at that. I hadn't even noticed, but Joe Hart, the ball had barely gone out of play. He's got another one on the edge of his 6-yard box, and all of a sudden Celtic have got it on the corner of Rangers' box about 5 seconds later. Juranovic stands the ball up. Not a great cross, caught by John McLaughlin.
Again, I mean, people wonder, you know, you do these free kicks, you do corner kicks, you go through, and every restart is lightning quick. And people go, well, you know, is that a new idea? No, it's not. There's one of the training practices we always used to do many years ago is, if you're training, if you take more than 2 seconds before you take the free kick, it's not your free kick anymore. That's what Ange Postecoglou does, doesn't it? No doubt at all. So they get it ingrained in their minds. Ball down, play, move. And, you know, what's an absolute treat.
Connor Goldson fires a pass straight out of play inside his own half. Cure, another massive cheer of joy from the Celtic fans, and the songs begin again. They're on their feet, they're turning to their right in this stand to taunt the Rangers fans. They're leading this derby by 3 goals. It's going to be fascinating. It's going to be absolutely fascinating when Real Madrid, the European champions, come to town on Tuesday.
Yeah, and the Celtic fans of a certain age, you know that they, in time going by, they're capable of working at that level, and there is just that little hope that, you know, they are capable of taking on the mightiest teams in Europe, particularly here at Celtic Park.
O'Reilly, 1-2 with Jota, back to Hatate. Lovely control and touch from the Celtic players. Hatate via Juranovic gets it to Abildgard. Abildgard on the move into the area at speed, cleared by Sands. Up towards Carter Vickers, chased by Morelos. Morelos won't get there. Celtic have it again inside their own half, and McGregor opens things up for Moritz Jens. Jens to his left finds Greg Taylor. Celtic wondering whether they can get a fourth. Jota, 2 step overs just outside the Rangers area on the left. Back to Hatate. Giacomakis wants the early delivery. Curled in behind him to the far post, headed away. Juranovic, oh, lovely flick to Taylor with the curler, saved by McLaughlin. Opening goal at Goodison Park, Masfaruki.
And it's cut for the host side. Connor Cody was a tap in for him after a lovely ball back across the face of goal from a corner from Mopé. A really well worked team goal. Everton have the lead. Everton 1, Liverpool 0.
Well. Celtic 3, Rangers 0. Everton 1 up at Goodison Park, Pat Nevin.
I think the bigger shock is probably Goodison.
Yeah.
You know, how difficult it's been. Okay, Liverpool haven't been firing on all cylinders other than against the Bournemouth, the 9-0 against Bournemouth. But I think that's a real shock to a lot of people there.
Plenty more time left in the game. Plenty more updates coming your way from Maz. 1 win in the last 23 Premier League games for Everton against Liverpool. Last home win at Goodison in the league 13 years ago, back in 2010. They lead Liverpool by 1-0. We're midway through the second half at Celtic Park. Ange Postecoglou, almost like a statue second half, just standing there casually, hands in pockets, watching his team defend a diagonal. Juranovic is back there. Juranovic curls a pass up the touchline. Read by Barisic, chested down, continues his run. Cross comes in, falls to Morelos, tries to turn. He and Scott Wright get in each other's way, and Celtic are able to clear.
Morelos has been on the pitch for 7 minutes and hasn't touched the ball.
There he goes. He has now.
Oh, yeah.
He's won a tackle. Finds Scott Wright. Scott Wright tries to get the cut back from the byline. Hatate was struggling to stick with him, and Celtic will try and play out again.
He wasn't very sharp when the ball came in, was he? You know, the ball was crossed over, it landed at his feet, and that's his stock and trade. You know, when he's on his best form, when he's sharp, when he's fit, when he's the right way, all those things, you know, the ball come to him with one touch and it'll be in the net. That time, he couldn't get his feet sorted out, and you don't get 2 seconds against this Celtic team in the box. Actually, scratch in the box, anywhere.
Anywhere. 6th season at Rangers for Morelos. He's going to look to get on another cross here into the penalty area. Jens volleys it away. Celtic are about to make some changes, I think, and that is no surprise with Champions League football on the way here on Tuesday night. Scott Wright, 30 yards out, decides to hit a shot, and Celtic have 2 men in the way. Back to Goodison Park. Maz has news.
That Connor Cody goal has been ruled out. He was marginally offside as the ball came back across the face of goal from Neil Mopay. So it's still Everton 0, Liverpool 0. And we've just got a bit of a delay here with a pitch invader on the pitch. So still goalless here at Goodison.
And that's the way it goes with VAR.
Yep. And it's just part of the deal and the excitement of it. Remember the other part of it, when you don't know if it's a goal, you get to celebrate twice.
Yes.
And it is given.
But that one wasn't. So, still goalless at Goodison Park. So scratch all those Everton stats I just gave you. Celtic waiting to make the triple change. Morelos onto the ball, angles difficult, drags it across goal. And behind it goes for a Celtic goal kick.
Yeah, but he gets himself in a good position this time.
Oh, my goodness. Hart's played it straight to Arfield, who smashed it over the bar. Would it have counted?
No, I'm not sure it was. And
he was in the box, was he?
Yeah, the referee saying no, he's expecting to come off. He thinks there's maybe another ball on the pitch. But I'll tell you what a mistake it was. You know, they want to play the ball quickly, yes, but you better get it right when you're playing it out from the back.
At least play it to your own teammates. Triple change coming for Celtic. Moy, Turnbull, Maeda are the 3 players coming on. Exactly what we were saying in the first half, exactly what James McFadden was saying on the Friday Football Social last night. 3 excellent players to bring into the action. 3 o'clock commentary comes from Stamford Bridge this afternoon. Chelsea against West Ham. Ian Dennis has the team news.
Chelsea have made 5 changes. It includes Wesley Fofana making his debut after his move from Leicester City and the return of Gallagher from suspension. And West Ham give a debut to Lucas Paquetá, their club record signing from Lyon.
Tavernier, diagonal ball into the Celtic penalty area. Carter Vickers heads it away. Abildgard is there. Nice touch and a flick to O'Reilly. Wonderful from O'Reilly to control it, bring it down and play it back to Hatate. The ball through, though, is beyond Giacomakis, and Rangers can build again from inside their own half. Rangers 3, Celtic 0. 3 Celtic subs waiting to come on. Everton's goal at Goodison ruled out. Still 0-0 in the Merseyside derby. Morelos offside. Team news from Tottenham. John Southall.
5 changes for Tottenham. Richarlison and Longley make their first starts for the club in place of Davis and Kulusevski. Perisic, Basuma and Sanchez also dropped to the bench. Romero, Sessegnon and Bentancur return. Fulham, they're unchanged from the win over Brighton.
Beg your pardon if I just said Rangers 3, Celtic 0. Certainly not that. Celtic 3, Rangers 0. And if you've been listening to the commentary from the start of the game, you will know that. Matt O'Reilly coming off for Celtic. First off, coming on is David Turnbull. Maeda is going to come on for Abada, and Aaron Moy will come on in central midfield. Matt O'Reilly is one of those who stood out this afternoon, Pat Nevin.
Yeah, he's absolutely fantastic. He has run out of legs a wee bit in the second half, but I think that's what the manager says to him. You know, give everything you've got, and then when you run out of gas, you'll get somebody who'll do exactly the same for the last half hour.
So last player to come off is Hatate. Let's get the team news from Molyneux. This is Wolves Southampton today. John Akers.
3 changes for Wolves. Reinate Nouri, Daniel Podence, and new signing 6'7" striker Kalajdzic. The Austrian big man are in the team. He makes his debut. Out there Nelson Semedo, Guedes and Raul Jimenez. For Southampton, Aribo in for the injured Lavia, and 3 of their deadline day signings are on the bench.
Thank you, John. Back underway at Celtic Park. Celtic leading Rangers by 3-0. David Turnbull gets his first touch, plays it to Aaron Moy, who gets his first touch. Very experienced Australian international sitting in central midfield. So Hatate, the 3rd man to go off. 18 minutes plus added time to be played. Chelsea West Ham, our 3 o'clock commentary on 5 Live and BBC Sounds this afternoon. Next break in play will take you to St James's Park to get the team news ahead of Newcastle against Crystal Palace. But Celtic are trying to win the ball high up the field inside the Rangers half. Tavernier stops that. Stephen Davis still out there for Rangers. Plays a little 1-2 with Barisic. Barisic gives it back to him. Celtic back off. So he comes scurrying forward to the halfway line. Digs his left foot underneath the ball and chips a pass to Tavernier on the right. Tavernier plays it to Scott Wright. Morelos in the offside position, comes back into the onside position, turns it round the corner to Arfield. They look for the 1-2. Morelos not able to get to the ball. Jota tries to take it past Connor Goldson. Goldson blocks it. Turnbull looks to get there. He can't. Stephen Davis is there for Rangers, and now Tavernier has it on the right-hand side. Tavernier looking up for an option. Morelos making his way there in the middle, slides a pass down the right, and that will go behind for a goal kick.
Yeah, Morelos' body language is right poor. You know, he's made a couple of runs, and that's been generous. You know, he jogs into areas. And one of those occasions, he got himself one-on-one with the goalkeeper, but he looks a long, long way. And you look at the zippiness of other players around him. He smelled it. But having said that, put the ball in a plate for him, and he'll score.
Yeah, Kent plays it to Arfield. Morelos again just jogging away to the left-hand side, has stayed on side here. What I don't get about that is, you know, he's been here. This is his 6th season. He's caught now, doesn't get the foul. He's rolling around on the floor. Callum McGregor's taken the ball off him, trying to turn it into a Celtic counter-attack. Morelos is slowly getting to his feet. 6th season at the club. First time he's got a chance to play Champions League football in the group stages, and he doesn't seem bothered at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, every season you think, well, he'll go now, he'll go now, he'll go now. The thing is, people will stop looking at you if you're not willing to put the work in.
We will get to St James's Park for that team news once this move is over. Celtic leading Rangers 3-0. Turnbull takes his time, comes back to the left to find Jota. Jota with a little chip pass. Turnbull's made the run for him. Back to goal inside the Rangers penalty area. Out to the left back, Greg Taylor. Taylor's got Scott Wright behind him, so he turns and comes back to Jota. Jota still inside the Rangers half to Moy. Celtic quite happy to keep it and pass it and keep Rangers running here. Jens across to Carter Vickers. Carter Vickers draws Morelos in, finds Moy. Moy's pass gets it away just in time. Juranovic down the line here. Chance to get an early cross in from the right-hand side. Sands is able to block that, and it will go out for a throw, will it? Cleared away by Lundstrom down the left-hand side, and that normally means a quick throw. But this time...
Well, they can't because there's another ball in the field.
They can't. They would have done. They would have done. But I don't think we've got time to get to St James's Park just yet. That will come. Juranovic's throw-in. Turnbull miscontrols it. Runs to Giacomakis. Giacomakis trying to make space for himself on the edge of the box. Celtic players there in support. Moy is running away from Scott Arfield at the moment. Arfield is chasing. If Moy comes back here to Jens, I'm going to go to St James's Park. Will Perry.
Liverpool defeat a change of centre-backs. Botman and Sherin for Lascelles and Burns. Still no Sir Maximan or Guimaraes. 2 Palace changes from the Brentford draw. Mitchell and Ayew in for Klein and Elise.
Thank you, Will. Sorry for the delay. One of the 3 o'clock kickoffs in the Premier League this afternoon. Ian Dennis providing your usual goal service while doing commentary of Chelsea West Ham. Celtic coming forward again. Maeda was making a run. Giacomakis couldn't find him. Celtic win the next 50-50, leading Rangers 3-0. Juranovic, edge of the area, lets fly. High and wide, behind it goes for a goal kick. Celtic 3, Rangers 0. Pat Nevin.
Yeah, I actually think Celtic have actually lifted it a little bit since they made those changes. Just that little bit of extra energy there they've got in the field, and again, that's a worry for Rangers, but then Rangers are going to make a couple of substitutions themselves.
Yes, which gives us time to get back to Goodison Park. Mas Faruqi.
Still goalless, second yellow card of the game. This one for Liverpool. Van Dijk with a high boot on Onana. Caught him on the top of the foot. Certainly looked like a painful one. The home fans here certainly think it should have been punished more severely. And Jota, on his return from injury, is preparing to come on as a late sub for Liverpool here as well. Everton 0, Liverpool 0.
Thank you, Maz. Ryan Jack fashion Sakala on for Lundstrom and Kent, who were given the old cheerio in no uncertain times by the Celtic fans sitting behind that dugout. Celtic 3, Rangers 0. Another 3 o'clock kickoff in the Premier League is Nottingham Forest against Bournemouth. Pat Murphy will be watching that one.
Sorry, Alistair. 2 changes for Forest. Freuler and O'Brien drop to the bench. Cook and Lingard come in. Bolly, a Wolves player a week ago, is also one of the subs. Bournemouth are unchanged after getting a gritty point in midweek against Wolves. Jack Stevens, a loan signing on deadline day, is one of the subs.
Would you believe it? Celtic have a 4. David Turnbull with an absolute gift. John McLaughlin, the Rangers keeper, inexplicably kicks the ball straight out to Turnbull, who returns it with interest, past McLaughlin into the back of the net. The day gets worse and worse for Rangers. Celtic continue to celebrate. Celtic 4, Rangers 0.
Well, there's a lot of difficulties you're going to have in a game, but you can't shoot yourself in the foot in that way. And Rangers have done it actually just 20 minutes before, 15-20 minutes before, almost the same thing done by Joe Hart on the other end, but trying to play out for the back. That is officially the worst pass in the game. Straight to Turnbull, and it's an easy pass into the goal. 4-0. Game's over.
Yeah, David Turnbull's first goal of the season for Celtic. Celtic 4, Rangers 0. Brentford leads, by the way, your other 3 o'clock kickoff in the Premier League this afternoon. So, 12 minutes remaining in the game. I can see clouds of green smoke in the Jock Stein stand above the heads of the fans away to our left-hand side. Celtic fans going to enjoy their weekend. Their team going 5 points clear at the top of the table. Here's Jota. Can they find a fifth? That is a good ball into the far post. Maeda can't quite get on the end of it. And then the tantalising prospect of Real Madrid coming to town on Tuesday night. They're still looking for a fifth. McGregor on the right. Cross takes a deflection. Giacomakis shoots across goal, and Celtic appeal for a penalty at the same time. The ball pinged between a couple of defenders, fell to Giacomakis. The angle was tight. Referee says no penalty, and Giacomakis couldn't find the target.
Well, it was a tight one, and everyone called for it at the same time now. Certainly wasn't a deliberate handball, but we know that's not important. But it was a chance there, and once again, not just these fans here, but the Celtic players are lifted by it. The changes that Postecoglou made, what a difference that's made to the team. You were just beginning to look a little bit tired, a little bit laboured. You bring those 3 players on, and suddenly, well, just as Paddy said the other night, they've got a new team on the pitch.
Celtic 4, Rangers 0. Green and white scarves are twirling again. Tavernier, I think, has kicked the ball straight out of play. So let's get team news from that last 3 o'clock kickoff to deal with in the Premier League. Brentford leads. Jonathan Overend.
Pontus Jansson back into the Brentford defence today to captain the team. He's been out with a foot problem, but he returns. Rodrigo and Christensen out for Leeds. So the youngsters, Joe Gelhardt and Cody Drammer, get starts today.
Thank you, Jonathan. Everton 0, Liverpool 0. It remains at Goodison Park. They'll have about 10 minutes remaining in the game as well. Everton having a goal ruled out by the video assistant referee for a marginal offside. They thought they'd taken the lead by a goal to 0. Celtic have won a corner. If you're a fantasy football manager, the team news I know you'll be waiting for is the Villa-Manchester City game, which will come later in the show, whether Erling Haaland starts that one. He has been captained by a lot of fantasy football managers. Latest Fantasy 606 podcast available for you on the BBC Sounds app.
Yeah, we just watched the possible penalty. There was a handball by a Rangers player, but it's come off his foot and hit his hand. So the ruling is, you know, except it hits your head, then hits your hand. It's not deliberate. It's not given.
Oh my goodness, Rangers taking risks again. Tavernier back to his goalkeeper McLaughlin. Giacomakis was nearly onto it. Celtic fans are loving this. Barisic clears with his left foot. That's more sensible. Downfield. Carter Vickers wanted that. Came flying over the back of Morelos. Battling with Morelos again. Ball bounces just inside the Celtic half. Arfield wins a header. Aaron Moy clatters him as he does so. Free kick for Rangers. What I was going to say about that, Pat, was at the Tottenham-West Ham game in the week, and Antonio Conte was livid because Tottenham were given a penalty that was eventually ruled out. For that very reason, the ball hit Cresswell in the face first. And Conte was saying, let's get rid of VAR in the Premier League. I don't think that's...
They always say that when what's against them.
That's right. Jota is tackled by Stephen Davis, throwing for Celtic on the left. 9 minutes remaining in the game. Celtic 4, Rangers 0. We said, Pat, it's not going to be decisive in the title race. It's a real statement today.
It's a massive statement, and it's kind of psychological when, you know, 4-0 is a serious beating. 5's a hammering.
Yeah.
And there is a psychology in these numbers sometimes with teams. So if Celtic did manage to get another one, you know, they would be delighted with that.
You should point out, by the way, that Celtic scored 4 in midweek against Ross County, but Ross County scored 1. Rangers haven't even managed that.
That's very true. That was in the League Cup. Celtic made 9 changes. Goodison Park, Mas Faruqi.
0-0. McNeil, though, who's on as a sub for Gordon, forced a decent save from Allison. His shot from the right-hand corner of the 18-yard box was deflected. Allison had to tip it over the crossbar. We've still got time for a late goal here. There still could be one coming. Everton 0, Liverpool 0.
Right, we've got around 60,000 people in green and white shirts doing the Poznan. So right in front of us in the commentary position, we're going to have to stand up here. Fans jumping around, not looking at the action. Rangers are attacking. Celtic intercept the ball at the near post, and Greg Taylor has a chance to clear. Let's all do the Poznan. You can hear all around.
It's the huddle they do here.
Yeah, they call it the huddle.
Beg your pardon. Sorry, yeah. Yes, it's the Manchester City one, isn't it?
It's an extraordinary sight to see. I was going to say the entire stadium. 2 parts of the stadium don't join in. One being the director's box.
That's right. Celtic 4, Rangers 0. 7 minutes to play on 5 Live and BBC Sounds. Chelsea West Ham in full on the way at 3 o'clock. Full commentary on Aston Villa against Manchester City at 5:30, with Sports Report coming in between. And then after Villa, Manchester City, Chris Sutton and Robbie Savage taking the calls on 6:06, as they will tonight and tomorrow night after the Premier League action on 5 Live. There's Sands playing the ball into the Rangers midfield, up towards Arfield. Arfield back to Tavernier. Tavernier to Morelos. Morelos tries to flick it round Taylor, pick it up the other side. Taylor's too quick for him. Darts in to win it. Moy gives it back to Taylor. Taylor flicks it over the head of Giakoumakis. He shrugs his shoulders, says I can't get that, and Rangers have it again.
Yeah, Giakoumakis has been the only player's a wee bit disappointed. He's worked so hard. He's had very, very few chances, and you know, if you're a centre forward, even if you got number 7 on your back. And by the way, Arfield gets in there.
Yeah.
And at any other time, if you weren't in the kind of almost the last dregs of the game, you get a yellow card for that. The referee said just get on with it.
Yeah.
But Giakoumakis, he's worked so hard. He's come on unexpectedly after only 3 or 4 minutes for Kyogo. But he's made space for other players, and you know, players coming from midfield have had gaps to run into because of his work rate.
That'll be the interesting one ahead of Tuesday night. Team news for Celtic, whether Kyogo will be fit. Giakoumakis into the Rangers penalty area, struggling to hold on to it, stumbles over. Celtic fans hopefully appeal for a penalty. Giakoumakis keeps it, plays it back to Taylor. Taylor to Jota. Again, Jota just leaves the ball and sort of darts to his left as if he's going that way to try and fool the defender. Carter Vickers nods it forward. Sakala intercepts it for Rangers. Turnbull takes it off him. Couple of 50-50s. And Celtic win a free kick. Maeda fouled about 30 yards from goal in the inside right channel.
But that attitude, I think Postecoglou, his heart will be bursting at that. He's looked at these players. Players have their second favourite for 3 tackles in a row. They still get it back, and they don't have a free kick themselves in a very dangerous area.
Let's see what Celtic can do with the free kick, then we'll get back to Goodison Park. Everton 0, Liverpool 0, moving into the closing stages. Free kick for Celtic, leading Rangers 4-0. Can they make it 5? 29 goals scored so far this season in the league, conceded just 1. Set-piece opportunity here. Jota stands over it. Carter Vickers, Giakoumakis, Jens are all up there for Celtic. With the right foot, it's curled in. McLaughlin gives it a call, comes and makes the catch for Rangers. Maz Faruqi at Goodison Park.
Goalless, but Firmino's forced another decent save from Pickford. This right-footed shot, which he had to tip round the right-hand post. Q yelling and screaming at his defence to concentrate in the final few minutes of this match. So Everton 0, Liverpool 0.
James Tavernier has fallen over inside the Celtic half. He thought he was tripped by Jens. I don't think the ref gave a free kick initially.
No, I don't think he did, and I don't think it is a free kick.
No.
I think he's just run out of legs and might even be injured there. I don't think there was any free kick involved. Now, I don't even think Tavernier was shouting for a free kick.
No.
I think his leg gave away slightly beneath him there. He looks very, very tired, doesn't he?
He does look tired, and Rangers...
There's a little moment there. He's limping back, looking exhausted, and Jota bounds past him like an African antelope. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Not been a fun afternoon for the Rangers players. Celtic 4, Rangers 0. Sakala bringing it forward for Rangers. Going to try and do it on his own. Good dribbling. Pass Moy into the box. Taylor comes in with a challenge. Celtic eventually get enough players there to deal with it. Juranovic, clearance blocked by Sakala and behind for the goal kick to Rangers. But again, I mean, Tavernier's sort of holding the back of his right knee there. Ajax away Wednesday in the Champions League. Tavernier's crucial.
Yeah, he's a massive player. He's a very limited effect going forward, but then he's had Jota to worry about, and well, he's not really been able to stop Jota, has he, in this game? It's been a hard day for Tavernier. However, he may have a little chance here, probably a bit far out for the free kick. He's fabulous with these free kicks, Tavernier.
Stephen Davis nudged over by Callum McGregor. Scott Wright says to the ref, you could have played advantage there because he pinged his shot against the post, but Joe Hart wasn't really trying to save it. So can Celtic keep the clean sheet? Celtic 4, Rangers 0. They're going 5 points clear at the top of the league, and we will be here on Tuesday night for full commentary of Celtic against the European champions Real Madrid, and you know that Celtic are going to come flying out of the blocks again in that one, and you know just what the atmosphere is going to be like as well, so do not miss that.
Well, I know what Real Madrid are going to try and do. They're going to try and slow Celtic down in the first 20 minutes, 35, maybe even 45, and hope that the spaces will open up in the second half. Sometimes that's easier said than done against Celtic.
Can Rangers give their fans a crumb of comfort? The free kick is chipped into the area. It's headed across goal. Joe Hart sticks out a big left hand, palms it beyond Morelos and behind for the corner.
Just really good goalkeeping. You know, he's got to make the save, and he will make the save, but it's where he flicks the ball. You know, there's 2 or 3 Rangers players coming in. He flicks it behind him, so it's out for a corner kick, as opposed to, you know, flicking it out into a dangerous area. Really good goalkeeping.
89th minute of the game. Rangers corner.
There's something thrown on the field, so
well spotted,
the assistant referee said stop that.
Paul Boy needs to go and pick that up.
It's only a bad paper, it's nothing serious.
Corner will be taken by Tavernier. Rangers fans behind him with his right foot, swings it high into the Celtic box. Morelos wins the first header, nods it down, comes off a Celtic player. That'll go behind for another corner to Rangers.
I think Morelos would love to go on the score sheet after all the stick he's got, not just from Celtic fans, you know, for a lot of people in the Scottish game, you know, because he's not turned up in good condition this season, and indeed his coach, you know, leaving them out in games. But we'd still love to come back and see if I can still score goals.
Now, a couple of things have been thrown
that's a shame.
From the Celtic fans here. A couple of plastic bottles I've seen go down. Barisic has gone over to take the corner. He'd be wise to get out of there as quickly as he can. Stewards step in to try and sort it out. We don't need that. Barisic with the away swinger. Chested down by Maeda on the edge of the Celtic penalty area. He's got the pace to get away from Stephen Davis. Goldson's going to hack him down. Cynical stuff from Connor Goldson. Yellow card, obviously. Free kick for Celtic. Sometimes, occasionally, Pat, you can see those given as reds. There is absolutely no intention to play the ball, and you can injure the player.
Absolutely. I mean, that's a very, very dangerous tackle to do. I mean, if a player then goes over his ankle with something that cynical at that pace, yeah, I've seen referees go for the red card there, and it was in my mind. But letter of the law, he's absolutely within his right to give it a yellow.
2 minutes of added time at the end of the game. Celtic were making the point. I saw 2 yellow cards go up. I've got absolutely no idea who the second one went to. Let's not worry about that just yet.
Probably Morelos, it usually is. I have no idea who it is. But I mean, someone's complained to the referee, and it's possibly about something that happened 2 or 3 minutes before. But yeah, Giacomakis
for the complaints, I think, because he wanted Goldson sent off. I mean, that would have been a crazy thing for Goldson to do with other games still to come, but it just shows you what's happened to Rangers today.
And of course, on top of that, I mean, Roddy again was mentioning early on, the lack of centre-backs that the Rangers have got, you know, absolute centre-backs, are out-and-out centre-backs. It's a real problem for them.
Celtic 4, Rangers 0. Tavernier plays to Stephen Davis on the right, heading towards the last minute of added time. Greg Taylor with a little back heel flick. Jota tries to knock it over the head of Tavernier, and then Jota goes flying into a challenge on Scott Wright, and Rangers get the free kick.
There's just a moment there, Carter Vickers, and he had almost a Van Dijk moment. Real danger. The ball was getting put in. He read everything beautifully and made the most simple-looking challenge at the near post and took the ball away. But his movement before that was fantastic. He's another player who's had a brilliant game today on green and white hoops.
Man of the match goes to Leo Abildgard on the big screen. Tavernier's free kick could be headed into his own net there by Turnbull on the edge of the box. Joe Hart is alert, dives to his left, palms it behind for a corner. Last knockings of the game.
Yeah, they've driven Celtic backline mad. You know, if they've given away, they love the fact that they've only given away 1 goal so far this season. Incredible. Another clean sheet with good now.
Tavernier corner, headed away by Giacomakis. Jota battling with Ryan Jack. Jack's not letting him get to the ball. Full-time whistle blows, and as you can hear inside Celtic Park, Derby Day belongs to those in green and white hoops. They ripped Rangers apart in the first half, taking a 3-0 lead. Abildgard with 2 and Jota with the other. Things slowed down a bit in the second half. David Turnbull got on the score sheet when John McLaughlin, the Rangers keeper, played the ball straight to him. What a performance from Celtic. Rangers, Pat Nevin, just have to go and lick their wounds.
They have to go and lick their wounds, but they'll have to go and find an answer, because if they're going to get back in this title race, they're going to have to beat Celtic in the games coming up when they get against them. That's in the future, but today I think we wanted to know. Rangers are the team that got to a European final. Celtic won the league last season. Have Rangers got closer? It doesn't look like it at the moment. Celtic are a better team this season than they were last season, and players like Abada and Jota, fabulous today, but special words for O'Reilly. I thought he had a magnificent game.
Rangers were 6 points ahead of Celtic on Boxing Day last year, and still they lost the league. Now, after only 5 games, they've given Celtic, or 6 games, they've given Celtic a 5-point lead plus a goal difference total that makes it 6. It doesn't look good for them.
Party starts for the home fans at Celtic Park. They've walloped Rangers by 4-0. Real Madrid come to town on Tuesday.
And we'll reflect on that in a